My father awakened the S-Rank Thousand Blade Sharpening. My mother awakened the SS-Rank Profound Heavy Sword. But at today's awakening ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned blood red. Immediately after, a beam of red light descended from the heavens and landed right on me. When the red light faded, the phantom of a swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. The principal saw it and gasped in shock. It's actually the unique hidden class Sword Array Master. It meant that for this class, I was the only one in the entire world who had it. Unless I died, there would never be a second Sword Array Master in this world, because I awakened a combat-type class. The school gifted me a new awakening Divine Stone. Standing to the side, the mage maintaining the class transfer array shouted with absolute excitement, "Student, hurry up and do your second pull, while your luck is hot." I didn't hesitate. I placed the newly acquired Divine Stone into the array. Another flash of red light. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, and sword auras crisscrossed the air. However, the card I pulled didn't contain a weapon. It was the same phantom of a swordsman riding a flying sword. When the principal saw this, he almost died of excitement, because the Divine Stone only guarantees a class on the first awakening pull. Guarantees a 100% chance to pull a class. In all subsequent pulls, there's only a minuscule chance of pulling a duplicate class. Duplicate classes aren't wasted though. Instead, they convert into bonus stats and grant special skills. After the first class transfer, every time you pull a duplicate class, it converts into a constellation. Every class has 6 constellations, but many people spend their entire lives and still can't max out all 6. Someone like me getting a red on a single pull and getting back-to-back reds, that's a world first. The array mage's eyes were bloodshot at this point. He roared in excitement, "Student, keep pulling. Pull an exclusive weapon, and you'll be a national treasure." I was a bit dazed at the time, but I still listened to him. I immediately used the newly gifted Divine Stone for another pull. A flash of red light. A sword array actually appeared in the sky again, and then another phantom of a swordsman riding the wind appeared on the awakening stage. At this moment, even the usually calm array mage started roaring at the top of his lungs. Principal Ning Ching was so thrilled he straight up fainted. The principal is in shock. "Medic, hurry, call the school medic." I didn't wait for the array mage to say anything else. I skillfully placed another Divine Stone in. A red light flashed. Another constellation. By now, I had entered a state of absolute focus. I kept pulling. In just 2.5 minutes, I did 3 more pulls. The result? 3 more flashes of red light. The entire school fell into a dead silence. Someone actually pulled a unique hidden class. And it's freaking max constellation. In the thousands of years of world history, you couldn't find anyone this absurd. This guy is definitely God's illegitimate son. This exaggerated gacha session made me feel like I had traded my lifespan for these pulls. However, I still had one last gifted Divine Stone left. I kept pulling. Unfortunately, there was no red light this time. Not even a gold or blue light appeared, just a flash of white light. A sword box flew out from the array and slowly landed in my hands. Holding the sword box, I sighed. Just my luck. I actually pulled a plain white item. Hearing my words, the campus erupted in outrage. Countless students started rioting. Then, a music teacher activated a skill, and his singing instantly calmed everyone's emotions. When I walked back into the crowd holding the sword box, Lu Ruyan immediately came over and asked what my stats were. Hearing this, I first checked my own status panel. Skill: Sword Array, Level 1. Deploys a sword array. The array continuously consumes spirit, increases critical damage by 100% within a 10-meter radius. Skill: Sword Control, Level 1 controls flying swords to attack from the air. Constellation 1, Sword Lord Sword Array effective radius increased by 10 times. Constellation 2, Sword Intent deploying, Sword Array and Sword Control no longer consume spirit. Constellation 3, Sword Bone, continuously restores stamina while inside the sword array. Constellation 4, Sword Embryo. For every enemy attacked within the sword array, other enemies inside the array will take 10% splash damage. Constellation 5 Sword Heart. Attacks within the sword array are guaranteed critical hits. Critical rate is converted into double critical damage. Critical damage is additionally increased by 100%. Constellation 6 Sword Immortal. All attacks within the sword array ignore enemy defense. After reading my stats, I couldn't help but gasp. With these constellation buffs, how is anyone else supposed to play? Looking at the class attributes, my spirit was far higher than my other stats. This meant Sword Array Master leaned more toward a magic-type class. I thought about it for a moment. I didn't deploy the Sword Array. Instead, I directly used the Sword Control skill to manipulate the iron sword box. It opened, and an iron longsword flew out. I took a look. This iron sword only had 10 attack. It was a completely ordinary piece of gear you could find anywhere on the street. Peering into the sword box, I found that it could hold a total of 10 flying swords. Logically speaking, the more flying swords you control at once, the greater the spirit consumption should be. A sword array master without constellations should only be able to control one flying sword in the early stages. That's why there was only one iron sword in the iron sword box. But my constellation 2 made deploying the sword array and sword control cost absolutely nothing. This meant that this constellation alone multiplied my early game combat power by 10. After closing the sword box, I recalled the moment I pulled the sword array masterclass and the special vision. I saw during the process an army of 1,000,000 abyss monsters marching through the wilderness. Then, a sky full of swords rained down, annihilating the 1,000,000-strong army in an instant. That scene made me realize that, in the late game, I would possess the power to rival an entire nation alone after the ceremony ended. Out of 300 students, 35 pulled combat-type classes, and 265 pulled lifestyle-type classes. Principal Ning Cheng, having been resuscitated, walked back, up to the podium. He gave the students a highly motivating pep talk, and then got down to business. In 1 month, it will be the Great Xia Empire's annual National College Entrance Examination. Whether you pulled a lifestyle class or a combat class, you can all enter higher academies through this exam. I hope that within this month, you will level up and increase your skill proficiency as much as possible. After dismissal, the principal called Lu Ruyan and me over. This year, only you two have a chance of getting into Kyoto University. So, today I plan to give you two some special training. The hidden strict requirement for entering Kyoto University is reaching level 19 within a month. Lu Ruyan awakened as an elven holy maiden, which is a high-tier rare class. With her family's backing, she shouldn't have much of a problem. The principal's biggest worry was actually me, because a hidden class only means it's rare, not necessarily that it's powerful. Although constellations provide a boost to the class, generally speaking, 6 constellations increase a class's strength by about 50%. Even for stronger classes, it's only a 70% boost. Hearing the principal's words, I silently glanced at my constellation panel. Only then did I realize that I was the only one this ridiculously overpowered. Finally, the principal told us to head together to the outskirts, to a newly discovered hidden dungeon. The monsters inside were only level 12, so the difficulty was relatively low. Not only was the EXP yield 50% higher than normal dungeons, but most importantly, clearing the dungeon would reward a divine stone. After leaving the school, I went straight to the shop. I spent all the money I had saved up over 2.5 years to buy 9 average quality iron swords. I also bought a damage testing wooden dummy. When I arrived at an empty lot and prepared to summon my flying swords, a woman's face suddenly appeared in my mind. Detected that the host has transferred to Sword Array Master. Achievement system unlocked. Detected that the host has achieved a God tier achievement. Max constellations on first pull. Reward, Awakening, unique God tier talent. Absolute luck level 1. Detected that the host has achieved a God tier achievement. Sword Immortal. Reward, Awakening, unique God tier talent. I'm the Sword Immortal level 1. Hearing this, I froze on the spot. I immediately checked my talent attributes. I found that the effect of absolute luck was a monthly limit of 10 times, where my luck stat is maxed out during gacha pulls. The effect of I am the Sword Immortal was a 10x multiplier to all damage. I thought to myself, the most important thing in this world is gacha. Basically, all the precious items in the world, whether it's money, skills, or gear, can be obtained through gacha. Now that I have 10 pulls a month with maxed out luck, doesn't that mean as long as I get divine stones, I can instantly get my own red legendary exclusive weapon? Although divine stones are rare, getting one a month is still barely manageable. It took a long time for me to recover from the shock. Right now, I couldn't wait to test my damage. I placed the testing dummy in the center of the clearing, deployed the sword array, and used sword control. First, I controlled a single flying sword and accurately pierced the dummy. It dealt 546 damage. As far as I knew, even the widely recognized Fire Mage, which has the highest early game attack power at level 1, would only deal about 20 damage to a testing dummy with a fireball spell. And those fire mages couldn't even cast many fireballs before their spirit was completely drained. My level 1 basic attack damage was already catching up to a level 10 fire mage's fireball. Thinking of this, I directly controlled all 10 flying swords and shot them at the dummy. When I saw 5,460 damage pop up above the dummy's head, my pupils shrank. The textbook said, a level 10 boss only has around 10,000 to 20,000 HP. This meant that with at most 4 attacks, I could easily obliterate a level 10 boss. Crazy part is, am only level 1 right now, and the weapons I'm using are just the lowest grade iron swords. Thinking of this, the corners of my mouth were harder to suppress than an AK's recoil. Then, thoroughly satisfied, I carried the sword box on my back and headed home. When I got home, my aunt smiled and welcomed me in. Before I transmigrated here, the original host's parents went missing together while exploring a mysterious dungeon. So the host had been living at his grandmother's house. When Grandma found out I had awakened a combat class, her face instantly darkened. One after another, all becoming combat classes to throw your lives away. I might as well go down to the underworld first and wait for you all. Afterward, my aunt comforted me. When your grandmother was young, she was an elite in the military. Back when your mom pulled a combat class, she threw a banquet for 3 days and 3 nights. But when I pulled a singer class, she gave me a stinky face for 3 days and 3 nights. Then, I also told my aunt that I had pulled a hidden class. Hearing this, my aunt immediately shot me a look of envy and jealousy. Is your class badass or what? Badass, that's great. Combat classes are supposed to be badass. Quick, tell me exactly how badass your class is. The rest of the night was spent amidst my aunt's continuous gasps of badass. Early the next morning, I found a gorgeous badge resting at the head of my bed. Although it looked quite old, it was incredibly well preserved. When I picked up the badge, its stats appeared: Empire's Special Merit Badge, Strength 100, Agility 100, Spirit 100, Constitution 100, Damage Reduction 11%. Ready to equip. At the very bottom there was a note dedicated to the heroes who made monumental contributions to the Empire. Seeing the badge's name and note, I couldn't help but freeze. Under this name and note, those 100 all-around stats didn't even matter anymore. In the Great Xia Empire, there is a saying: first-class merit is bought with your life. Second-class merit comes with disability. Third-class merit is earned with buckets of sweat. But special merit, only war god-level figures could earn that. Every single special merit badge represented a living legend. I was a bit dazed at this moment. I never would have imagined that my usually kind and gentle grandmother was actually a war god who had earned special merit. When I walked out into the living room, Grandma had already made breakfast. I sat down and asked her what the deal with the badge was. It's just some past events not worth mentioning. Eat your breakfast properly, train hard, and don't embarrass our family. Grandma, you agreed to let me become an adventurer? With your class and talent, if I stopped you, it would be the greatest betrayal to the country. After leaving the house, I checked my current stats: Strength 110, Agility 105, Spirit 130, Constitution 105. By equipping the Empire's Special Merit Badge, all 4 main stats increased by 100. This was equivalent to the stats a normal class would gain by level 16 in the early game. Then, I took the school bus to the hidden dungeon in the western suburbs. Shihu City has a total of 8 high schools. Each school gets 2 to 3 slots to enter the hidden dungeon for leveling. After arriving at the location, Liu Ruyan came over and said to me, "The dungeon is open." The teacher said it's best to form a 5-person party for this dungeon. That way, we can ensure our safety, and the grinding efficiency won't be low either. I've already set up a party for you. 2 fire mages, 1 warrior, and me as the healer. With the EXP from this dungeon, we should be able to hit level 12 if we grind for a week. But monster EXP is divided among the party members, so I wanted to solo it. Afterward, Lu Ruyan went in with her 3 teammates. I, on the other hand, chose to solo the dungeon. As soon as I entered, a berserk rabbit leaped right at me. I didn't hesitate to deploy the sword array. An iron sword from the box instantly skewered the berserk rabbit. But I had only killed 1 rabbit, yet over 10 notifications suddenly popped up in a row. Only then did I realize it was the splash effect of Constellation 4. For every enemy attacked within the sword array, other enemies inside the array take 10% splash damage. My damage was currently overflowing by a massive margin. As long as 1 rabbit died inside the sword array, the other rabbits would instantly explode with it. Then I summoned all my flying swords and began a massacre in the forest. As a massive wave of notifications flooded my screen, my EXP bar skyrocketed. This leveling speed was absolutely shameless. Half an hour later, I hit my first level up. With the level up, my stats increased accordingly. Strength 10, Agility 5, Spirit 30, Stamina 5. The total stat points gained was 50. I remember the textbook saying that when a normal class levels up, they only gain 25 stat points. My class's growth rate was actually double that. Feeling that just killing rabbits was getting boring, I started pushing deeper into the forest. The monsters I encountered along the way also started slowly increasing in level. But all the monsters were still instantly one-shot without any suspense, and they died in massive swaths. In the dungeon, the monster respawn rate couldn't even keep up with my killing speed. In less than an hour, a pillar of light erupted from my body. Another level up. Strength 10, Agility and Constitution 5, Spirit 30, Critical Rate 1%, Critical Damage 10%. Furthermore, the Sword Array and Sword Control skills also leveled up to level 2. Now, a single flying sword dealt 1,579 damage. An attack with 10 flying swords dealt 15,790 damage. I completely possessed the ability to one-shot a level 10 boss. My damage had already caught up to a level 40 fire mage. I thought to myself, this class is way too unbalanced. Good thing it's a unique class. And the only one who has to bear this unfairness, while crying foul on behalf of other classes. I tearfully shot down a Berserk Rabbit King in my line of sight. My EXP bar surged up another chunk. At this leveling speed, I could reach level 12 in a day at most. The most crucial part was that, thanks to the buffs from Constellation 2 and Constellation 3, Sword Control consumed no spirit, and my stamina continuously recovered while inside the Sword Array. I could completely skip going out to resupply, saving a massive amount of grinding time. While I was still on a killing spree inside the dungeon, quite a few students had already retreated from it to receive healing and resupply. The principal waiting outside hadn't seen a trace of me, and inevitably started getting anxious. Suddenly, a squad of heavily armed official troops arrived nearby and cordoned off the dungeon entrance. The captain of the official army, Zha Zhaoyang, stepped forward and said to the principals, "Principals, I apologize. The military has detected abnormal energy index fluctuations in this dungeon. We need to close the dungeon to investigate the hidden dangers. Please take your students and head back for today." Ning Qing hurriedly said, "Captain Jia, I still have a student inside the dungeon. Can we wait for him to come out first?" Xie Zhaoyang frowned, then glanced at his watch. This energy fluctuation might be caused by abyssal corruption. If not handled in time, this dungeon could become abyssalized. "So, I can only give you half an hour." Ning Qing nodded. "That's enough. My student has already been in there for over 2 hours. No matter what, he should be out within half an hour." Meanwhile, I, the one everyone was worrying about, had already slaughtered my way to the middle of the forest. My level had also reached level 4. I was quite satisfied with my leveling speed. I originally thought that the further I went, the slower my leveling speed would become. But in reality, relying on the built-in splash damage from my constellation, plus the defense ignoring true damage from Constellation 6, the Sword Array had turned into a monster slaughterhouse. Any monster that spawned within a 200-meter radius died instantly. The monsters around here were respawning too slowly. Looks like I need to keep heading deeper. Thinking this, I put away my longsword and moved forward, with absolutely no intention of exiting the dungeon. At the same time, deep within this hidden dungeon, the level 12 boss, the Cyclops, was snoring soundly on its stone bed. Suddenly, right next to its stone bed, purple bubbles slowly seeped out from the ground. My father awakened the S-Rank 1000 blade sharpening. My mother awakened the SS-Rank profound heavy sword. But at today's ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned blood red. Immediately after, a beam of red light descended from the heavens and landed right on me. When the red light faded, the phantom of a swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. The principal saw it and gasped in shock. "It's actually the unique hidden class Sword Array Master." This meant that for this class, I was the only one in the entire world who had it. Unless I died, there would never be a second Sword Array Master in this world, and I was still advancing toward the center of the forest. By now, even level 10 monsters couldn't withstand a single sword strike from me. Before I knew it, I had reached the depths of the forest. A golden light erupted from my body. I leveled up to level 5. My 4 main stats and critical damage increased, but I was actually feeling a bit dissatisfied with my leveling speed, although the monster levels increased as I went deeper, yielding more EXP. The monster density had dropped. Now, killing a fierce tiger only gave me 0.1% EXP. I'd have to kill 1,000 tigers to level up once, but there were very few tigers around. I could find 5 a minute at most, even counting the other monsters. It would still take 2.5 hours to reach level 6. I thought to myself, I've already been in the dungeon for 3 hours, and am only level 5, even though the others are probably level 3 at best right now. I can't compare myself to them. I didn't stop walking. I continued deeper into the forest and arrived in front of a cave. Inside this cave should be the boss room of this hidden dungeon. The monsters inside should all be level 12. There might even be elite monsters. I pondered for a moment, then resolutely walked right in. Even though I'm only level 5 right now, a single sword strike already deals 2,000 damage. 10 flying swords would be 20,000 damage, with an attack frequency of once per second, plus the splash damage from my constellation. Even if the boss and elite monsters are swarming inside, I can wipe them all out. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, Xia Zhaoyang checked the time and said to Ning Qing, Principal Ning, I'm sorry, but half an hour has passed. We have to close the dungeon now. Captain Jia, can't you give us a little more time? That kid is a prime candidate for Kyoto University. Nothing can happen to him. We understand your concern, but rest assured, once we eliminate the hidden dangers, we will reopen the dungeon. The student will be able to exit then. Just then, a soldier rushed over anxiously and shouted, Captain, bad news. Something's happened. The instruments detected abyssal aura in the dungeon. The dungeon boss has already been corrupted by the abyss. Then hurry up and close the dungeon. Reporting to the captain, we can't close it. Xia Zhaoyang's expression shifted slightly as he asked, only the boss was corrupted? The dungeon hasn't been completely abyssalized yet. Why can't it be closed? Someone has already stepped into the corrupted boss territory. The dungeon has initiated abyssal raid mode. Xia Zhaoyang barked. Impossible. There is only one student in the dungeon right now, level 3 at most. How could he enter the boss territory? Xia Zhaoyang's face instantly turned incredibly gloomy. He turned to Ning Qing and said in a deep voice, Principal Ning, what exactly is the deal with your student? Ning Qing was also dumbfounded. I have no idea. Xia Zhaoyang didn't have time to point fingers right now. He turned and ordered evacuate the surrounding teachers and students immediately. Dispatch the city defense force here. We absolutely cannot let the abyssal corrupted boss enter the city limits. Liu Ruyan watched Xia Zhaoyang leave in a hurry and quickly asked Ning Qing, Principal, what is abyssal raid mode? Ning Qing, looking utterly devastated, replied, when abyssal power erodes a dungeon, the dungeon boss becomes corrupted by the abyss. All of its stats skyrocket by at least 10 times. If the corrupted boss isn't defeated within a certain time limit, the corrupted boss will lead the dungeon monsters to invade the real world. Therefore, before the corrupted boss invades reality, we need to dispatch elite professionals into the abyssal dungeon to raid the boss. This is called abyssal raid mode. Once abyssal raid mode is initiated, the dungeon is no longer open to the outside. The raiders who entered the dungeon and the abyssal corrupted boss must fight to the death. If the raiders successfully defeat the abyssal boss, they will receive rich rewards. But if the raiders are killed, the abyssal corrupted boss will be strengthened even further and will immediately invade reality. Liu Ruyan's expression changed slightly. Then doesn't that mean Zhang Yuan has to fight the corrupted boss? She panicked and immediately ran to the side to call Steward Shu. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, I still had no idea I was in deep trouble. I was still immersed in the joy of power leveling. Successfully killed corrupted goblin, EXP 200. Successfully killed corrupted elite goblin, EXP 300. Successfully killed corrupted giant vanguard, EXP 500. As expected of the boss territory, the EXP is shooting up like crazy. I was grinning from ear to ear. As soon as I entered the cave, I was shocked by the EXP the monsters inside gave. Although the monsters here were much tankier, it just meant going from 1 flying sword to 2 flying swords. It didn't affect my grinding speed at all. In just a few short minutes, golden light erupted from my body. I leveled straight up to level 6. Suddenly, a massive horde of goblins appeared ahead. Just from what I could see, there were over 100 of them. My eyes sparkled with golden light. That's all pure shiny EXP right there, in this narrow cave. The monster density was high, the numbers were huge, and I didn't even have to look for them. This was a leveling paradise custom made for me. Watching my rapidly rising EXP bar, I even felt that those goblins, with their brains exposed, looked somewhat cute. Outside the dungeon, the city defense force had already set up a defensive line at the dungeon entrance. The soldiers were fully armed and on high alert, ready to intercept the abyssal monsters at the perimeter. The teachers and students from all the schools had been evacuated. Only Ning Qing, relying on his status as a veteran principal, managed to pull some strings and got Xia Zhaoyang to agree to let him and Liu Ruyan stay behind. Liu Ruyan looked at Ning Qing with teary eyes. Principal is Zhang Yuan. Is he really not going to survive? Absolutely impossible. The boss of this dungeon and the monsters in its territory are all level 10 and above. After being corrupted by the abyss, their stats will skyrocket by 10 times. Zhang Yuan won't even be able to break their defense. Meanwhile, deep inside the dungeon cave, having just reached level 10, I was sitting on a rock, chewing on some roasted jerky, while controlling my flying swords to slaughter monsters. Then I opened my status panel to check my current stats. Strength 200, Agility 150, Spirit 400, Constitution 150. Sword Array and Sword Control had both leveled up to level 3. Now that I've grinded to level 10, it's about time I go meet that boss. When I walked to the deepest part of the cave, I saw an incredibly exaggerated, massive creature. This giant's entire body exuded an unsettling aura. Just looking at that single eye of the Cyclops made me feel an indescribable sense of terror. The Cyclops King had already spotted me. flames of malice ignited in its eye, as it roared in fury. I thought to myself, is this really what a level 12 boss is supposed to look like? Something's wrong. Something is definitely wrong. Unfortunately, I hadn't learned the detection skill, so I didn't know the specific details of this boss. I could only try attacking it with 10 flying swords first. The 10 flying swords pierced through the armor on the Cyclops King's chest, dealing 38,360 damage. This was the first time I had encountered something that could take a hit from 10 flying swords and not die. I was absolutely shocked. However, the Cyclops King seemed to have suffered extremely heavy injuries as well. The armor on its chest shattered, and blood poured out endlessly. The frantic Cyclops roared in anger. It grabbed the massive spiked club next to it and charged at me like a maniac. I immediately controlled the 10 flying swords to attack again, dealing another 38,360 damage. Seeing that the monster still wasn't dead, I frowned slightly. While retreating, I used my mind to pull the flying swords out of the Cyclops King's body. Although the Cyclops King was spurting blood everywhere, its speed was still incredibly fast. In just a few strides, it rushed right in front of me and violently smashed its spiked club down. I leaped to the side to dodge. Although I dodged the club itself, I was still blasted away by the shockwave. My HP instantly dropped by more than half. What insane attack power! If I had come here at level 6 or 7, I probably wouldn't have even survived this splash damage. This Sword Array Master really is a squishy class. But I don't believe you can take another 10 swords. I knew that if I took even one more splash hit, I'd definitely be dead. So without hesitation, I controlled the flying swords to attack. The 10 flying swords pierced straight through the Cyclops' heart, dealing another 38,360 damage. The Cyclops let out a cry of agony, then suddenly collapsed to the ground. Successfully killed corrupted Cyclops King. EXP 10,000. Just as the system notification ended, a beam of golden light erupted from my body. I leveled straight up to level 11. Detected that the host has achieved the achievement, First Encounter with the Abyss. Reward: Awakening High-Tier Talent. Congratulations to the host. Awakened High-Tier Talent Eye of the Abyss. Can detect targets up to 50 levels higher than the host. Before I even had time to check my stats, on the Cyclops King's stone bed, a treasure chest appeared. My eyes lit up. I immediately ran over and opened the chest. Obtained Basic Skill Scroll X1. Obtain Divine Stone X1. Obtain Class Exclusive Skill Scroll X1. I didn't expect that besides the Divine Stone. I did also get 2 skill scrolls this time. In this world, skill scrolls are incredibly valuable treasures. Even a basic skill scroll could sell for 100,000 bucks at the trading house. As for the Class Exclusive Skill Scroll, although I had never heard of it, I didn't even need to think to know its value was definitely astronomical. Without hesitation, I directly used the basic skill scroll. The skill scroll turned into a ball of light and merged into my body. Obtain skill, Poison Resistance Level 1. Effect grants 10% poison resistance. I nodded in satisfaction. The skills obtained from these scrolls are random, and there's even a chance of failing to acquire a skill. Getting a passive skill from a basic skill scroll was already pretty damn good. Afterward, I couldn't wait to use the class-exclusive skill scroll. Obtain passive skill, Sword Array Space. Can store the sword box and flying swords in the sword array space. Can be accessed at any time within the sword array. Seeing this somewhat confusing skill, a hint of doubt flashed in my eyes. I immediately tested the passive and found that the sword box on my back and the flying swords all vanished together, stored away in the sword array space. I was a bit disappointed, although being able to store the heavy sword box in the sword array space was indeed very convenient. With my current strength, carrying the sword box wasn't much of a burden anyway. If this skill only provided a bit of convenience, then this class-exclusive skill's value was way too low. However, I quickly realized there was more to this skill. The skill had a second half to its description. Within the sword array, can be accessed at any time. I immediately deployed the sword array, and those flying swords appeared out of thin air within the array, then quickly vanished again. Seeing this, my pupils instantly dilated. This meant that when fighting an enemy, as long as they were inside my sword array, I could completely summon flying swords right behind their back. I could be the ultimate camper. Thoroughly satisfied, I stuffed the Divine Stone into my pocket and began clearing out the remaining monsters in the cave. Divine Stones must be used in a Destiny Star array. Right now, I didn't have the money to buy a portable Destiny compass. Crafted by a Grand Array Master, I could only go to the Adventurers Guild and pay a fee to use the public Destiny Star array for my pulls. Now, as long as I go to the Adventurers Guild to pull and get my exclusive weapon, it'll absolutely skyrocket. After killing the corrupted Cyclops King, this cave, stopped respawning monsters. It only took me half an hour to clear out the rest of the monsters, smoothly leveling up to level 12. Afterward, I laughed out loud and walked into the dungeon exit portal. That appeared behind the treasure chest. A moment later, from the empty treasure chest deep in the cave, a wisp of purple smoke drifted out. It gradually condensed into a dark silhouette, staring coldly at the slowly closing dungeon. Exit portal. A level 10 soloing a level 12 corrupted boss. To think humanity produced such a genius. I must find a way to strangle him in the cradle. The dark silhouette spoke sinisterly before dissipating into smoke. Outside the dungeon, Xia Zhaoyang led the city defense force, standing in strict formation, but the abyssal monsters still hadn't come out of the dungeon. It had been 3 hours since the dungeon started abyssalizing. That kid is actually still alive. Seeing that the abyssal monsters weren't coming out, Xia Zhaoyang couldn't help but feel a bit of regret. For a rookie, to survive in an abyssal dungeon for 3 hours proves that Hez the elite of the elite. If nurtured properly, he could definitely become a high-level strategic asset for the Empire. Suddenly, a soldier reported, "Someone's coming out." Xia Zhaoyang immediately shouted an order. Soldiers all raised their guns and took aim. As long as Xia Zhaoyang gave the command, they would unleash the fiercest attack on the abyssal monsters. But when I walked out of the portal and saw the scene before me, I was stunned. When Ning Qing saw me, he hurriedly shouted for them to lower their guns. "That's my student." Xia Zhaoyang was taken aback. He quickly stepped forward and asked, "How did you get out?" I answered innocently, "I killed the boss, so I came out, right?" It's a pity that after killing the boss, the monsters inside stopped respawning. Otherwise, my level could be a bit higher. The next second, Ning Qing immediately cast a detection skill on me. Zhang Yuan, Sword Array Master, level 12. Ning Qing's heart skipped a beat. His face was full of disbelief. Thinking he had misread it, Ning Qing
used another detection skill on me.
Zhang Yuan, Sword Array Master, level 12. Now, Ning Qing was completely dumbfounded. Generally speaking, reaching level 12 on your own within a week gave you a high chance of getting into Kyoto University, merged with 827, but reaching level 12 on your own in a single day. Ning Qing had never even heard of such a thing. Xia Zhaoyang placed both hands on my shoulders and asked excitedly, "Student, did you raid the abyssal boss all by yourself?" I felt very surprised. Rant dungeon bosses meant to be raided. Is there a need to be this excited? At this moment, the two of them finally realized that I had absolutely no idea the dungeon had been abyssalized. I thought I was just raiding a normal hidden dungeon. Xia Zhaoyang turned to Ning Qing and asked, "Principal, did you guys not teach the students about abyssal dungeons?" Ning Qing scratched his head. "Isn't that a university course? Who would have thought a high schooler would go raid an abyssalized dungeon? After all, students only start pulling cards and transferring classes when they are nearing high school graduation. Their levels are low, skills are few, and combat power is weak, let alone raiding. Corrupted boss with stats boosted by over 10 times. Even for a normal boss, they'd need to level up for at least a week before it's even possible to raid it. And that's assuming a reasonable party composition and perfect teamwork among members. As for a level 12 abyssal corrupted boss, it would take a level 20 elite party to raid it. A rookie soloing an abyssal corrupted boss. Such a thing was completely unheard of. Numb. Xia Zhaoyang and Ning Qing were both completely numb. Liu Ruyan hurriedly ran over and handed me a healing potion. I took a look and found that it was an advanced healing potion. The market price was 100,000 bucks a bottle. It could instantly fully restore the HP of a level 60 adventurer. It was incredibly precious. Afterward, I bid farewell to Ning Qing and headed to the Shuhu City Adventurers Guild. After professionals register as adventurers, they can take on quests at the Adventurers Guild to earn money. And this is the main source of income for adventurers. Inside the Adventurers Guild, there is also a Great Xia Empire trading house. The trading house is jointly operated by the Adventurers Guild and the Great Xia Empire's official government. In the trading house, as long as you're a citizen of the Great Xia Empire, not only can you freely buy and sell gear and materials, but you can also directly consign items to the trading house. And the Destiny Star array I needed to use was right inside the trading house. I found an unoccupied private room, placed my hand on the palm print recognition area on the door, and began identity verification. Verification successful. Great Xia Empire citizen Zhang Wen. Member level 1. The palm print scanner flashed green, and the door opened. Walking into the room, there was a chair inside, along with a magic crystal ball, specially crafted by an alchemist. Following the instructions, I placed my hand on the magic crystal ball, and a virtual screen appeared before my eyes. It displayed a massive amount of items currently for sale. Then, I took the potion Liu Ruyan gave me and placed it on the scanner. In the blink of an eye, the advanced potion was bought for 100,000 bucks, and my account gained 80,000 bucks. I cursed inwardly. This platform is such a scam. They easily pocketed 20,000 bucks from me just like that. Now that I had money, I could spend 1,000 to use the Destiny Star Array once. I then took out the Divine Stone and placed it into the Destiny Star Array, under the blessing of the passive Absolute Luck. A red light rippled through the array. The next second, a card, imprinted with a crimson sword, flew out from the array. Then the card dissolved into red light and vanished. The entire array lit up with a crimson glow. A sword entirely crimson and engraved with dragon patterns slowly rose from the array. A surging aura swept out in all directions. I hurriedly checked the stats of this sword. Divine Sword Chick Xiao, exclusive Tier 1 attack 1000, critical rate 50%, critical damage 200%. Auto protects Master Wielder is immune to mental attacks. No equip level requirement. Note, one of the top 10 sword auras. Protects its master, slays great demons, and cleanses the world. After reading it, a maniacal smile appeared on my face. This gear was the absolute definition of brute force. I'm afraid even the weapons used by god-tier professionals are nothing more than this. Right now, using an iron sword with 10 attack, I already deal over 4,000 damage. Now, with Chick Xiao's 1,000 attack, plus 50% crit rate and 200% crit damage, factoring in the crit conversion from my constellation, I did a rough calculation. A single poke with Chick Xiao would deal close to 700,000 damage. Level 12 dealing 700,000 damage. What kind of concept is that? My father awakened the S-Rank 1000 Blade Sharpening. My mother awakened the SS-Rank Profound Heavy Sword. But at today's ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned blood red. Immediately after, a beam of red light descended from the heavens and landed right on me. When the red light faded, the phantom of a swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. The principal saw it and gasped in shock. It's actually the unique hidden class Sword Array Master. It meant that, for this class, I was the only one in the entire world who had it. Unless I died, there would never be a second Sword Array Master in this world. After my initial excitement, I quickly calmed down. I hurriedly stored Chick Xiao into the Sword Array space to use as my trump card. After all, I'm only level 12 right now. If other high-level professionals found out I had a divine artifact on me, my life would definitely be in danger. After calming my nerves a bit, I bought a map of the outskirts and some rations. Storing them in my inventory space, I sent my aunt a message saying I wouldn't be coming home tonight, then headed straight out of the city. The inventory space is a special dimension everyone gets. After pulling a class and transferring, people can store all sorts of things inside their inventory space. However, the inventory capacity is limited. If you want to increase the capacity, you can only rely on leveling up, then following the directions on the map. I found a level 15-20 goblin settlement to grind. Upon arriving, I deployed the sword array and used sword control. An iron sword appeared out of thin air and pierced through a goblin vanguard's head, dealing 4,484 damage. There were other goblins within the sword array's range, but only one kill notification popped up. Sure enough, the era of one iron sword wiping out a massive crowd was over. This meant the monsters here all had over 4,484 HP. At the same time, killing monsters in the wild also drops materials. These materials can be taken to the trading house to sell. Alchemists and pharmacists both need them. Selling wild monster materials is also one of the main income sources for combat classes. After a brief sigh, I directly used all my iron swords to start grinding. With one strike, a massive wave of kill notifications flooded the screen. Successfully killed Goblin Vanguard. EXP 300. Successfully killed Goblin Scout. EXP 500. Successfully killed Goblin Warrior. EXP 200. Obtained Goblin Bone X36. Obtained Goblin Tendon X11. At this rate, reaching level 13 in one night won't be a problem at all. Suddenly, a feathered arrow shot at me from behind. Chick Xiao instantly appeared behind me and sliced the arrow in half. Two men walked out from the woods. One was holding a bow, clearly the one who just ambushed me. The other held a short sword, looking like an assassin. I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss, Sun Ya, level 20 archer, and He Mingda, level 20 assassin. After checking their stats, I coldly asked them why they were attacking me. Dead men don't need to know why. He Mingda sneered, his body melting into the shadows as he dashed toward me. A flash of killing intent crossed my eyes, even though I hadn't killed anyone before. That didn't mean I'd let someone off when they already had a blade to my throat. Several iron swords appeared out of thin air, swiftly stabbing into the shadow on the ground. However, The shadow moved like a squid in water, nimbly dodging my attack and circling around to my back. Himingda then activated his skill, Fatal Strike, his poison dagger, thrust toward my heart without hesitation. With a swoosh, the iron swords that had stabbed into the ground suddenly reappeared behind me, turning Himingda into a pincushion. The system prompt immediately sounded. Successfully killed Himingda. Obtained equipment, poisoned emerald dagger. Sun Yas's face drastically changed. He immediately drew his bow and fired, activating the skill triple shot. The bowstring twanged as a feathered arrow shot out, splitting into 3 mid-air to seal off my escape route. Seeing this, I remained completely still. The iron sword stuck in Himingda vanished into thin air, reappearing mid-flight to chop Sun Ya's 3 arrows to pieces. Sun Ya was terrified by my methods. He couldn't understand how a level 12 rookie could instantly kill his level 20 companion and effortlessly neutralize his attacks. Under my interrogation, I found out they were sent by Wang Hu. Although Wang Hu and I had some conflicts, it was just some minor friction at school. I never expected him to be so vicious. As to actually hire killers, Sun Ya then started begging for his life. "Boss, I've told you everything I know. Just treat me like a fart and let me go." I glanced at a goblin not far away, then told him to scram. Sun Ya immediately scrambled away in a panic. The next second, I casually sent 10 iron swords to pierce through that goblin in the distance. Successfully killed Goblin Warrior. EXP 200. Successfully killed Sun Ya. Obtained Goblin Bone. Obtained equipment, Emerald Bow. After dealing with them, I checked the equipment they dropped. Poison Emerald Dagger. Silver Tier. Attack 100. Assassin skill damage 10%. Inflicts poison damage. Level 20 required. Emerald Bow. Silver Tier. Attack 80. Archer skill damage 10%. Attached skill, triple shot. Level 20 required. The stats on both items were pretty good. Selling them for 100,000 bucks wouldn't be a problem. In this world, precious weapons are graded into tiers. From lowest to highest, they are bronze, silver, gold, platinum, epic, legendary, and mythic. Besides these, there are also class-exclusive weapons that can only be obtained through the gacha system, like my divine sword, Chixiao. Generally speaking, a Tier 1 exclusive weapon stats fall between epic and legendary. As its refinement level increases, the weapon stats will continuously rise until it reaches max refinement and becomes a mythic weapon. Due to the unique nature of exclusive weapons and classes, once an exclusive weapon is fully refined, its value is even higher than a standard mythic weapon. By the time I finished cleaning up the area, the sky had already grown dark. At this moment, I had also ventured deep into the goblin tribe's encampment. Soon, a goblin with glowing red eyes appeared in my line of sight. After inspecting it with the Eye of the Abyss, I found that this one was much stronger than the ones during the day. No wonder the textbooks always warned us that if we were training in the wild, it was best to return before sunset. With that in mind, I controlled 10 iron swords and pierced through that goblin. The kill prompt chimed in response. Successfully killed Goblin Axeman. EXP 1000. Successfully killed Goblin Archer. EXP 1200. Successfully killed Wild Wolf. EXP 50. Obtained Goblin Bone X10. Goblin Eyeball X3. Wolf Pelt X20. I glanced at my EXP bar. It had grown by a small chunk. The experience here is much higher than the hidden beginner dungeon. I might be able to level up 2 or 3 times tonight. I continued deeper into the forest, slaughtering the monsters within. In less than an hour, a golden light burst from my body. I leveled up to 13. My spirit stat had reached 490 points. After fighting my way to the depths of the forest, I arrived in front of a massive vortex. Seeing a dungeon deep in the forest, I was momentarily stunned. I took out my map to check and found that there was no dungeon marked here. This must be a newly spawned hidden dungeon. Looks like my luck is pretty good. I put away the map and tried using the Eye of the Abyss on the hidden dungeon ahead. Shadow Forest Dungeon. Level 15. Difficulties: normal, hard, nightmare. And finally, a question mark. Seeing the question mark in the dungeon info provided by the Eye of the Abyss, I couldn't help but pause. I knew field dungeons had difficulty options, but I didn't expect this one to have a hidden difficulty. I pondered for a moment and decided to test the waters in nightmare difficulty first. After all, this isn't a game. If you die in a dungeon, you die for real. Rashly challenging the hidden difficulty wouldn't be a rational choice. The moment I entered the dungeon, the ground suddenly trembled. A 4 to 5 meter tall dark silhouette appeared in the thick fog ahead. Seeing this, I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss. Shadow Forest Giant. Enhanced Elite. Level 15. Strength 1000. Agility 100. Spirit 30. Vitality 1000, as expected of an elite monster in a nightmare dungeon. Its level 15 stats are way higher than the outside. Not only did he awaken the US rank Magic Blade Thousand Edges, Woojin even awakened the SS rank Heavy Ruler. Yet, at today's ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned blood red. Then, a beam of red light descended from the heavens and landed on me. After the red light dissipated, the phantom of a swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. Principal saw it and exclaimed in shock. It's actually the unique hidden class, Sword Array Master. It means I'm the only person in the entire world with this class. Unless I die, there will never be a second Sword Array Master in this world. The moment I entered the dungeon, the ground suddenly trembled. A 4 to 5 meter tall dark silhouette appeared in the thick fog ahead. Seeing this, I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss, Shadow Forest Giant, Enhanced Elite, Level 15, Strength 1000, Agility 100, Spirit 30, Vitality 1000, as expected of an elite monster in a nightmare dungeon. Its level 15 stats are so much higher than the level 20 goblins outside, but with 1000 strength and 1000 vitality, its HP should be around 20,000. It still won't be able to withstand an attack from 10 iron swords. With that thought, I controlled 10 iron swords to attack the monster. Dealt 48,238 damage. The Shadow Forest Giant's chest was pierced by the 10 iron swords. It collapsed on the spot, dissipating into black smoke. Successfully killed Shadow Forest Giant. EXP 2000. Obtained Giant's Heart X1. Giant's Nail X1. Hearing the prompt, a surge of excitement flashed in my heart. A level 15 monster gives 2000 EXP. That's several times higher than monsters of the same level outside. Killing one monster here is equivalent to killing several outside, and since I can still one-shot them, my clearing speed isn't slow at all. Grinding in this dungeon might be a great choice for leveling up. Continuing deeper into the dungeon, I encountered several more Shadow Forest Giants, but I took them all down easily and my EXP skyrocketed. I just steamrolled my way through. By the time I reached the deepest part of the dungeon, my EXP bar was already at 70%. The leveling speed was absolutely godly. Deep within the Shadow Forest, there was an altar. On it stood a cross. When I took another step forward, the cross instantly transformed into a scarecrow. It looked like the boss of this dungeon. I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss on it. Shadow Scarecrow Boss. Level 16. Strength 0. Agility 0. Spirit 10,000. Vitality 0. Skills: Mental Storm, Death Curse, Resuscitation. Seeing the boss stats, a huge smile bloomed on my face. This boss stats were terrifyingly high. If a normal party came in blind, they'd probably get wiped out easily. But I have my exclusive weapon, Chixiao. And one of Chixiao's passives grants the wielder immunity to mental attacks. You could say, my exclusive weapon is a hard counter to this mental type boss. I first tried piercing the scarecrow with my iron swords, but every time I killed it, it would immediately resurrect. After a few more tries, I gave up on killing it physically and focused my attention on the altar. I noticed that on the 4 corners of the altar, there were 4 thick candles. I tried extinguishing one of them. The Shadow Scarecrow suddenly let out an ear-piercing shriek, simultaneously unleashing the skill Mental Storm. A terrifying shockwave spread out in all directions.
Chixiao
Immediately formed a red barrier around me, blocking the Shadow Scarecrow's attack. Seeing that extinguishing a candle triggered the Shadow Scarecrow's attack, I knew I was on the right track. I immediately went to extinguish the other candles. With every candle extinguished, the Shadow Scarecrow would unleash a Mental Storm. When I snuffed out the final candle, the Shadow Scarecrow didn't cast Mental Storm. Instead, it began to twist and shriek uncontrollably before suddenly exploding. A death ray shot straight at my face. This was its final skill, Death Curse. If not purified within 1 minute, the target dies instantly. But Chixiao's passive activated, blocking the Shadow Scarecrow's final strike. Successfully killed Shadow Scarecrow. EXP 20,000. Obtained equipment, Cursed Necklace. Even after the kill prompt appeared, I still felt a lingering fear. If I didn't have the passive immunity to mental attacks, clearing this dungeon would absolutely require a paladin or a priest, a class with purification skills present. Otherwise, once hit by the death curse, death would be certain. Thinking of this, I checked the stats of the Cursed Necklace. When equipped, Spirit 500, wielder gains the skill Mental Storm, simultaneously suffers a mental curse, Strength 250,
Vitality 252.
The effect of Mental Storm is unleashing a large scale Mental Howl, dealing 10 times the user's spirit stat as damage to every enemy. Note one of the 3-piece curse set. After reading the Cursed Necklace's stats, I was a bit torn. My flying sword damage scales with my spirit stat. This 500 spirit is equivalent to 17 levels worth of stats. Moreover, that skill, Mental Storm, makes up for my lack of AoE attacks. Although Constellation 4 has splash damage, the splash damage is only 10%. Later on, when monster HP scales up, my splash damage won't be enough. Even now, a single instance of my splash damage can't one-shot elite monsters. But an AoE skill is different. The effect of my Constellation 4 is that, for every enemy attacked within the sword array, other enemies take 10% splash damage. This means the more enemies my AoE skill hits, the higher the stacked splash damage will be. If there are more than 10 enemies, the splash damage will directly exceed the skill's base damage. Mental Storm, for me, is a god-tier skill for clearing large groups of mobs. However, this 250 deduction to strength and vitality is pretty annoying. Right now, my strength is 230 and vitality is 165. If I put this necklace on, those stats will drop into the negatives. I might just get cursed to death on the spot. If I want to wear this cursed necklace, ID need to be at least level 30. Then, I suddenly realized something. This necklace's mental curse should also count as a mental attack, right? And my exclusive weapon, Xiao, makes me immune to mental attacks. Logically speaking, the mental curse from this necklace should be negated by Xiao. Thinking of this, I immediately decided to try putting it on. If it doesn't work, I can just take it off. Putting on the cursed necklace, I only felt a chill around my neck. My vision became much clearer. Other than that, I didn't feel anything else. I immediately checked my stats and found that my spirit had jumped to 990, while my strength and vitality hadn't decreased at all. An exclusive weapon truly lives up to its name, immune to mental attacks. Doesn't that mean I can ignore the negative effects and wear cursed equipment freely? You have to know, the cursed necklace had a note saying it was one of a 3-piece set. If I gather the full cursed set, I'd get massive buffs. While completely ignoring the debuffs, I can't even imagine how strong I could become. While I was celebrating, a brand new treasure chest appeared in the center of the altar. I went up and opened it. A colorful light shone from within the chest. Obtain Divine Stone X1. First clear of Nightmare. Difficulty Shadow. Forest Dungeon Bonus Reward Cursed Ring. Seeing the first clear rewards, my eyes couldn't help but light up. A Divine Stone. It's a reward everyone gets for clearing a dungeon for the first time. I wasn't surprised by that, but for the dungeon's first clear reward, to actually give a cursed item, that was a truly unexpected delight. Filled with excitement, I immediately checked my loot. Cursed Ring. When equipped, Spirit 500. Wielder suffers a mental curse, Agility 250.
Vitality 252.
Note one of the 3-piece curse set. Seeing the Cursed Ring's effects, I equipped it without hesitation.
Xiao's
Passive triggered, negating the ring's negative effects. My spirit stat shot straight up to 1,490. This is already the stat level of a level 30 mage after their class advancement. The final piece of the cursed set should probably be obtained from this dungeon's hidden difficulty. Since I've already gotten 2 pieces of the cursed set, there is no reason not to go for the last one. Not to mention, I'm a natural hard counter to this dungeon's boss. I can absolutely clear it without taking a single hit. After sorting out my loot, I left the dungeon and returned to reality. Then, without hesitation, I challenged the dungeon's difficulty. This time, as soon as I entered, an incredibly ear-piercing shriek suddenly echoed from deep within the forest. Xiao's passive triggered immediately. The Shadow Scarecrow's mental storm. I thought to myself, as expected of the hidden difficulty, getting hit by the boss mental attack the moment I step in. Then again, is the Shadow Scarecrow's attack range really this huge? Just then, a giant jumped out and blocked my path. I didn't hesitate to use the Eye of the Abyss on the monster. I found that compared to the monsters in Nightmare difficulty, the stats of the giants in this hidden difficulty had literally doubled. I stepped back to maintain my distance from the monster, then used my newly acquired skill, Mental Storm. A shriek erupted from my necklace, and my spirit instantly dropped by 500 points. A terrifying mental storm swept out in all directions. It actually dealt a staggering 2,600,480 damage. The giant bled from all 7 orifices on the spot and collapsed stiffly to the ground. In an instant, a massive wave of kill prompts flooded my screen. Successfully killed Shadow Forest Giant Warrior. EXP 4000. Successfully killed Shadow Forest Giant Vanguard. EXP 5000. Successfully killed Shadow Mage. EXP 8000. Obtained Giant's Heart X1. Giant's Nail X10. Giant's Bone X12. Shadow Crystal X1. Just as the prompts ended, another golden light burst from my body. I leveled up to 14. I then looked at the terrifying scene before me, thinking to myself that Mental Storm's area of effect is actually the same as my sword array's range. And just like my flying sword skills, it benefits from crit rate and crit damage bonuses. Add in my talents, 10x amplification, and Constellation 4's damage stacking. Once this skill is unleashed, not a single living thing will remain within the 300-meter radius of my sword array. Just imagine, if in the late game, my sword array's radius expands to thousands of miles, unleashing a mental storm then, with every additional enemy in the array, stacking the damage by 10% inside my sword array. Even gods would probably be shredded by the storm. With that thought, I got up and headed deeper into the forest, grinding levels as I moved forward. By the time I reached the altar, deep within the shadow forest, I had already leveled up to 15. When I saw the scarecrow in the center of the altar, I was just about to use the Eye of the Abyss on it. Suddenly, a massive amount of purple bubbles appeared on the altar. The scarecrow began to twist bizarrely, opened its bloodthirsty maw, and let out a mental storm, several times stronger than before. Even with Shixiao's protection, I was still knocked back several steps by the sound wave. After steadying myself, I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss on the scarecrow. When I saw its 200,000 spirit stat, my pupils instantly dilated. But then I immediately noticed the boss name had changed to Corrupted Abyss Scarecrow. My expression instantly became incredibly colorful. Didn't they say the chance of a dungeon undergoing abyssal corruption was less than 1%? This is only my second day since my class advancement, and I've only challenged 2 dungeons in total, yet both of them underwent abyssal corruption. Is this terrible luck or amazing luck? This time there were 8 candles around the altar. For every candle extinguished, the Corrupted Abyss Scarecrow would howl twice. That hideous, ear-piercing shriek made my brain go numb when I snuffed out the final candle. The Corrupted Abyss Scarecrow shrieked and twisted uncontrollably before finally exploding with a bang. A red death ray shot toward me. Shixiao's passive activated once again, blocking the Scarecrow's death curse. Then, a system prompt chimed, successfully killed Corrupted Abyss Scarecrow, EXP 40,000. Obtained equipment, Cursed Bracelet. Just as I put the bracelet away, a dark shadow rose from the altar, eventually transforming into a demon mage, wearing purple robes. A mere level 15 human actually managed to defeat my masterpiece. As expected, I can't let you live. Seeing the demon mage appear, my eyes narrowed slightly. I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss on him, but the result prompted unable to detect target. Getting this response from the Eye of the Abyss, my pupils shrank sharply, and a monstrous wave of shock surged in my heart. The Eye of the Abyss can detect targets up to 50 levels higher than myself. If I can't detect this demon mage now, doesn't that mean Hez, a monster above level 65? In that instant, I suddenly remembered a news article I read a while back in the newspaper my grandma subscribed to. It said that a Vanguard team with an average level of 70 failed to clear an Abyss dungeon, resulting in a level 70 Abyss boss escaping. Currently, the whereabouts of that level 70 Abyss boss are unknown. Recalling that news, my mouth suddenly felt dry. Looking at the demon mage ahead, I probed, "Are you an Abyss boss?" The demon mage sneered, "That's right. I am the mental grand mage from the Abyss, Otis. Under the Demon King's orders, I infiltrated the Great Jia Empire to corrupt all beginner dungeons into Abyss dungeons and wipe out all of humanity's ungrown geniuses. You're quite the prodigy. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for shining too brightly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have risked being discovered. To deal with you personally." Hearing Otis' words, my expression suddenly became quite subtle. I asked, "You're a mental type grand mage." Otis seemed incredibly proud of his abilities. When I asked, he boasted proudly, "Since the day I was born, I have exclusively cultivated mental type magic. It's also I can have more methods to torture the souls of you humans. Not long ago, a level 70 elite team from your great Xia Empire was tortured to death by my mental attack spells. Even now when I think of the agony of their souls right before they died, I still feel absolutely ecstatic." "I see." I nodded. The divine sword Shixiao silently appeared behind Otis and pierced straight through his back. It instantly dealt 2,097,480 damage. A terrifying number popped up above Otis' head. Otis instantly turned into smoke and scattered, then quickly reformed a short distance away. By now the smile on Otis' face had turned into a look of sheer terror. "Impossible. How could you break through my defense? Just how much HP does this guy have?" Seeing that Otis' aura showed no signs of weakening, I controlled Shixiao once again. Shixiao attacked, vanishing into thin air and reappearing out of nowhere behind Otis. Another successful sneak attack. Seeing himself injured again, Otis was going crazy. He glared at me and roared, "How can a level 15 brat like you possibly hurt me? What kind of skills do you have? I'm going to make you my slave." With that, he used the skill, Soul Control. Energy surged from Otis' staff, and an invisible mental wave swept toward me. Chixiao's passive activated, and a red barrier blocked Otis' attack. At this moment, the smile that was once on Otis' face transferred onto mine. Seeing that his skill had no effect on me, Otis completely lost his mind. He started frantically hurling skills at me. Mental Storm, Soul Flame, Death Curse, Soul Poison, Soul Explosion. Otis threw everything he had at me. Those mental spells that could instantly kill. Level 70 professionals were thrown like free candy at a mere level 15 like me. Yet amidst this torrential storm of mental attacks, I stood completely unfazed. I just kept using Chixiao to sneak attack Otis. No matter how much HP Otis had, stabbing him sword by sword. I'd eventually stab him to death. Why? Why are my skills useless against you? Otis looked like a madman, roaring at the top of his lungs, with bloodshot eyes. Seeing that Otis only had mental attacks, I couldn't help but mock him in my head. This guy really didn't learn a single other type of magic. After Otis had thrown all his skills and depleted most of his mana, he finally started to calm down. He realized that I had a god-tier skill that completely immunized me to mental attacks. Zhang Yuan, you're truly lucky that you ran into me, Otis. If any other abyss demon had found you, you definitely wouldn't have survived today. Just as he was about to turn and flee into the void, Chixiao suddenly appeared and pierced through his chest, turning him into dissipating black smoke. Successfully repelled abyss demon. Otis. EXP 200,000. Detected host has achieved the milestone, facing the abyss. Reward. Awakened advanced talent, fearless. Body. At the same time, a treasure chest appeared in the center of the altar. It opened automatically with a flash of golden light. Obtain Divine Stone X1. Obtain Basic Skill Scroll X10. Obtained Class Exclusive Skill Scroll X1. Successfully achieved first clear of Hidden Difficulty Shadow Forest Dungeon. Bonus reward equipment Cursed Heart. After checking my stat panel, I finally noticed my new talent, Fearless Body. Looking closely, the effect was actually an 80% damage reduction. What does 80% even mean? Added to the 10% reduction from the Empire's Special Merit Badge my grandma gave me, my total damage reduction is now a straight 90%. How is that any different from total damage immunity? Originally, my Sword Array Masterclass had squishiness as its biggest weakness. Now this Fearless Body directly covers up that biggest flaw. It turns me into a perfectly well-rounded class, with 0 blind spots. After checking my talent, I went to check the equipment in my storage space. Cursed Bracelet. Spirit 500. Wielder suffers a mental curse. Strength 250. Agility 250. Note one of the 3-piece curse set, just as I expected. It also adds 500 spirit. Equipping it pushes my spirit stat past 2000. I'm honestly more of a mage than actual mages. I put on the cursed bracelet, then shifted my attention to the other piece of equipment. It was the reward for the first clear of the hidden difficulty dungeon. Cursed Heart. Effect. Curse effects applied to oneself are converted into positive effects. I gasped in shock. Curse effects turned into positive effects. Doesn't that mean all the negative effects of the 3-piece curse set will become positive buffs? To verify my theory, I took the Cursed Heart out of my storage space. The Cursed Heart immediately turned into a beam of light, entered my chest, and disappeared. Then, I felt my physical strength increase significantly. I immediately checked my 4 main stats, and found that strength, agility, and vitality had all increased by 500 points. Now I'm seriously tankier than a knight, faster than an assassin, deal more damage than a mage, and have more strength than a warrior. The key is, I also have 90% damage reduction. What does it mean to be invincible in the same tier? This is what it means to be invincible. After checking my talents and equipment, I started sorting through the rest of my loot. 2 Divine Stones. That's basically 2 pieces of equipment. The value of these is higher than all my other gains today combined. 10 basic skill scrolls. I took them out and used them without hesitation. Aside from the ones that failed, I didn't get a single new skill. Instead, it leveled up my poison resistance skill to level 5. Now poison resistance grants 50% poison immunity. Then I silently prayed for a moment and used the class exclusive skill scroll. Obtain skill, attribute conversion. Level 1. Within the sword array, spirit can be converted into strength, agility, and vitality stats. Conversion multiplier is 1x. Seeing my new skill, I was momentarily stunned. Why are all the Sword Array Master skills so brain-burning? It's hard to understand just by reading the text description. I immediately tried using attribute conversion within the array. I tried converting my spirit stat into strength. Then I noticed my strength skyrocketed straight from 760 to 2,840. I instantly felt like I could punch a cow to death with one hit. After that, I converted my spirit into agility. My agility spiked from 680 to 2,760. I felt like I could run faster than a car. Finally, I converted my spirit into vitality. My vitality shot up from 680 to 2760. I felt as if I had turned into a solid wall, completely indestructible. I was extremely satisfied with my newly awakened, class-exclusive skill. And the most important part was the second half of the description. The second half of the sentence, the conversion multiplier is doubled. This means that as my skill level increases in the future, the multiplier will also increase accordingly. My spirit attribute is already high to begin with. I can't even imagine the scene when it gets converted into strength. After fighting hard for a whole day and night, my inventory is almost completely stuffed with all kinds of monster materials. I need to hit the exchange to clear it out and cash in. At the same time, I need to report the Ghost Forest dungeon immediately to exchange for contribution points at the Adventurers Association before some other awakened steals my thunder. Most importantly, I have 2 divine stones. That means 2 more draws. Back at the Adventurers Association, I walked up to the reception desk. Sweet-looking girl with a professional smile asked, "Hello, how can I help you today?" I discovered a new dungeon out in the wild. The girl immediately started registering the info on her computer. "Please log your information right here. The Adventurers Association will verify the dungeon details within 1 business day and issue your reward." I asked again. "Oh, right. I heard that after a new dungeon is discovered, the first person to clear it on nightmare difficulty and submit a strategy guide can get an extra reward. Is that right?"
Yes, sir.
"Once the association assesses the dungeon's level, if your level is appropriate, you can try to clear it. I've already cleared its nightmare difficulty. Can I just submit the guide directly?" The girl froze for a moment upon hearing this. She looked at me in absolute disbelief. "You've already cleared the new dungeon's nightmare difficulty." These days, quite a few people discover new dungeons, but after finding one, rushing in to challenge its nightmare difficulty, without waiting for the association to determine its level, and actually coming back alive, that's unheard of. After all, everything in a new dungeon is completely unknown. Nobody has a death wish. After hearing my affirmative answer, the girl was dazed for a second, then she snapped back to reality. She hurriedly said, "Please wait a moment. I'll go notify the manager." A situation like this was way beyond what a receptionist could handle. The girl left the front desk. A moment later, a middle-aged man in a black suit walked out. "Hello, Lee Anping, manager of the Adventurers Association's Westlake branch." As he spoke, he discreetly used detection on me. When he saw I was a level 16 sword array master, he was momentarily stunned, although he had never heard of my class. A nightmare dungeon that a professional of this level could clear should only be around level 8 to 12. If this kind of dungeon was inside the city walls, it could be used as a beginner dungeon to train students, but out in the wild, it's practically worthless. At the same time, I used Eye of the Abyss on him. I found out he was a level 40 fire magus. In the ensuing conversation, I gave him the intel on the dungeon. When he heard the boss spirit attribute was over 10,000, he looked completely unconvinced, because stats that high could rival many level 30 or 40 bosses. Setting aside whether a boss with such stats would even appear in a level 15 dungeon. Even if it did, how the hell did you solo it? If you don't believe me, you can send a team to verify it first. Also, a heads up, the team better have a priest or a paladin. The boss has a resurrection skill. Conventional methods won't kill it. You have to extinguish the 4 candles around the altar. And after putting out the candles, the boss will cast a death curse. If the team doesn't have a purification skill, it's extremely easy to suffer casualties. Seeing my absolute certainty, Lee Anping's expression turned serious. "He'll arrange a team to assess the dungeon's level right away. If you ain't lying, this might be a special dungeon created by abyssal monsters. The Adventurers Association will reward you handsomely." With that, he hurriedly left the office. As he walked, he thought to himself, if the dungeon intel he brought is true, then that level 70 abyssal boss that escaped the other day has probably sneaked into Westlake City. The abyssal corruption of the beginner dungeon wasn't a coincidence. The newly discovered hidden dungeon is also highly likely to be corrupted by the abyss. If we don't clear this abyssal dungeon in time, the consequences will be unimaginable. I have to report this to the association's higher-ups immediately. I had no idea that I had just dropped a massive information bomb, while wondering what kind of reward SID get. I headed to the exchange to sell my materials and buy uses for the Destiny Star Array. 2 Divine Stones to refine Chixiao to Tier 3. It's already comparable to a legendary weapon. My father awakened the ES-Rank Magic Blade, and Qianren Wujin even awakened the SS-Rank Profound Heavy Ruler. Yet, at today's ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned blood red. Immediately after, a crimson beam descended from the heavens and landed right on me. When the red light faded, Phantom of a Swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. The principal saw it and gasped. It's actually the unique hidden class, Sword Array Master. It meant that I was the only person in the entire world with this class. Unless I die, there will never be a second Sword Array Master in this world. Rumor has it that legendary weapons can even grant their wielders some unexpected benefits. However, legendary equipment is a closely guarded secret for any awakened. Right now, I have no idea what those benefits are. Murder and robbery. Those 2 silver-tier gears I looted sold for 100,000. The miscellaneous materials added up to 20,000. I made 120,000 in just one day. Combat classes really do rake in the cash. After selling everything, I spent 2,000 to buy 2 uses of the Destiny Star Array. Tier 3. Refinement for Chixiao. I'm really looking forward to this. Once the Star Array activated, I placed the 2 Divine Stones inside. As those 2 Divine Stones turned into motes of light and dissipated within the Destiny Star Array. A massive number of cards began to shuffle inside. Then, the array glowed with a crimson light. 2 red cards imprinted with a crimson sword flew out. Finally, they transformed into 2 divine swords, Chixiao. A terrifying aura suddenly erupted from Chixiao. I could almost hear the roar of a dragon. The patterns on Chixiao's blade became even more exquisite, and the blade itself began to emit a faint glow after the light faded. I opened my status panel to check Divine Sword Chixiao, exclusive Tier 3. Attack power 3000, crit rate 70%, crit damage 400%. If the wielder's HP drops to 0, it is forcibly locked at 1 HP once per month. Auto protects the master. Wielder is immune to spirit-type attacks. Divine Artifact Quest. Clear 10 abyssal dungeons. Note, one of the top 10 sword auras. Protects the master, slays demons, and slaughters all. After seeing Chixiao's powerful stats at Tier 3 refinement, I was immediately drawn to the Divine Artifact Quest FX. This was my first time seeing something like a Divine Artifact Quest. Moreover, clearing 10 abyssal dungeons is no easy feat. An ordinary awakened might not even encounter 10 abyssal dungeons in over a decade. Just then, there was a knock on the door. I put away Chixiao and went to the door. I saw Lianping looking at me with a beaming smile. Taken aback, I asked, "You guys finished the assessment that fast?" Li Anping smiled apologetically. "We have indeed found the dungeon you mentioned, and we've dispatched people to lock down the perimeter. In that case, can I get my reward now?" "We've already issued the reward. You can check your account with the Adventurers Association." I saw that not only did I have 10,000 contribution points, but I had also become a silver rank adventurer member, and my level had reached level 2. I couldn't help but be surprised. After an awakened registers with the Adventurers Association, their adventurer rank is evaluated based on contribution points. From lowest to highest, it goes bronze, silver, platinum, epic, legendary, and mythic. The higher the adventurer rank, the higher the level of quests they can accept. Rumor has it that once an adventurer reaches platinum rank, the Adventurers Guild will even issue them a monthly stipend. So I asked him, "As far as I know, a level 15 dungeon only gives about 1,000 contribution points, right? Even with the strategy guide, it shouldn't reach 10,000. Li Anping smiled at me and said we discovered that the Shadow Forest dungeon had undergone abyssal corruption, and it had already been successfully cleared by someone. I heard that you previously solo cleared the corrupted beginner hidden dungeon. So, was the corrupted Shadow Forest dungeon also solo cleared by you?" I put on a confused face and asked back, could it have been cleared by someone else? Li Anping, seeing me spout nonsense with a straight face, couldn't help but twitch his mouth. He reminded me dungeons have clear records. Currently, the clear record for the Shadow Forest dungeon only has your name on it. Oh, really? Then I forgot to mention it. That dungeon did indeed undergo abyssal corruption. The corrupted scarecrow was very strong, but I managed to clear it by a stroke of luck. Li Anping's mouth twitched again as he probed. Actually, we also detected traces left behind by the Abyss Grand Mage, Otis. And it seems that level 70 Abyss boss became the final boss. After the dungeon was corrupted, actually I was just about to say that Otis was also very strong, but I managed to defeat him by a stroke of luck. Li Anping finally lost his composure. He shot up from his seat, staring straight at me, and said hurriedly, "No bro, a level 70 boss. That thing wiped out our entire Grazia Vanguard team, a level 70 Abyss boss. How exactly did you get lucky and defeat that monster at level 16? Hearing this, I told him the intel on Otis. I have a skill that makes me immune to mental attacks, and Otis only knew mental-type magic at the time. Therefore, he couldn't do anything to me. Li Anping nodded and said, "Your intel also verifies the higher-up speculations about that Abyss boss. Our Vanguard team was wiped out back then, precisely because they weren't equipped with mental defense gear. Kid, you've really done a massive service this time. Elder Bai wants to see you and give you your reward personally. I was stunned when I heard that. Are you talking about the legendary Grand Mage? The president of the Adventurers Guild, Bai Zhengguo. That's right. Elder Bai, President Bai. He then took me to a room. In the center of the room stood an old man wearing white robes. The oppressive aura this old man gave me was even stronger than the level 70 Abyss boss, Otis. Almost instinctively, I summoned Chick Xiao to guard in front of me, while simultaneously using the Eye of the Abyss on the old man. Unsurprisingly, I couldn't detect any information about him. Bai Zhengguo smiled at me approvingly. Good reflexes. Young people nowadays rarely have your level of vigilance. Seeing Bai Zhengguo retract his aura, I also put away Chick Xiao and bowed to him. Greetings, Elder Bai. That sword just now. Is it your exclusive weapon? I told him frankly. Yes, it is. I heard that during your class advancement gacha, you pulled a max constellation hidden class in a single draw. It's only your 3rd day since advancing, and you've already pulled your exclusive weapon. Your luck is truly heaven-defying. With that, he casually reached into thin air and handed me a bottle of cola. I didn't stand on ceremony, taking the cola and chugging it down. Consumed God-tier cola. All 4 main stats permanently 10. Seeing my 4 main stats permanently increase by 10 points, I looked at Bai Zhengguo in shock. Bai Zhengguo smiled, then said to me, I teleported here specifically for 2 things. First, to give you your reward. The intel you provided is extremely important. You could say it indirectly. Save the lives of many young people. Therefore, I hope you can join the Abyss Raid team. Hearing this, I couldn't help but look at Bai Zhengguo. He explained, in recent years, the trend of dungeons undergoing abyssalization everywhere has become increasingly severe. The number of elite awakened responsible for raiding Abyss dungeons is already stretched thin. That's why our Adventure Association established an Abyss Raid team. After you join this team, we won't force you to carry out missions. We'll just pull you into a special chat group. That chat group will constantly update with information on abyssalized dungeons from all over, and team members from various regions can form temporary parties in the group to selectively challenge Abyss dungeons. Upon a successful clear, the Adventure Association will issue extremely generous rewards to the raiders. I nodded slightly after hearing this. I already had a divine artifact quest to clear Abyss dungeons anyway. This Abyss raid team was really like someone handing me a pillow, right when I wanted to doze off. However, I wasn't in a rush to agree just yet. I continued asking, the members who can join this kind of team should all be high-level elite awakened, right? Why choose a kid like me, although you hide it well? The aura you give off is incredibly sharp. I can feel it. Many awakened who have advanced past level 30 wouldn't be a match for you in a life or death battle. Even level 40, Li Anping outside the door, would die by your sword. Am I wrong? With your strength, you're more than qualified to join the Abyss Raid team. Of course, as long as you agree to join the team, it'll also give you an extra reward. As soon as Bai Zhengguo finished speaking, I said I was willing. Seeing me agree so readily, Bai Zhengguo appreciated my character even more. Since that's the case, let me give you your rewards first. First is the reward for providing crucial intel on the Abyss. 10 basic skill scrolls, and 100,000 Adventure Association contribution points. My pupils shrank when I saw that. I didn't expect the rewards to be this generous. 10 basic skill scrolls meant 1 million bucks. 100,000 contribution points were worth over 10 million. My father awakened the ES-Rank Magic Blade, 1,000 blades. My mother awakened the SS-Rank Xuan Heavy Ruler. But during today's ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned red. Then, a beam of red light descended from the heavens and landed on me. When the red light faded, the phantom of a swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. Seeing this, the principal exclaimed in shock. It's actually the unique hidden class, Sword Array Master. It meant I was the only person in the whole world with this class. Unless I died, there would never be a second Sword Array Master in this world. Right after, Bai Zhengguo handed me a crystal ball. This is your reward for agreeing to join the Abyss Raid team. If you ever run into danger later on, just crush this crystal ball, and I will instantly appear by your side to help you unconditionally once. I excitedly accepted the crystal ball. With this lifesaver, next time an Abyss boss came knocking, I'd have enough confidence to deal with it. Keep up the good work, kid. The future belongs to you. Bai Zhengguo smiled warmly. Then, a white light flashed beneath his feet, and he vanished completely. Li Anping had been waiting outside the door for a while. Seeing me come out, he immediately stepped forward and said, Elder Bai, just message me about it. Let's add each other as friends, and I'll pull you into the Abyss Raid team's chat group in a bit. After adding him as a friend, I asked if I could use my association contribution points to exchange for a destiny compass for drawing cards. Without a portable destiny compass, I'd have to make a special trip to the exchange every time I wanted to draw, which was extremely annoying. Li Anping smiled and replied, "With your current contribution points, you can easily afford a top-tier destiny compass. Just say the word, and no matter what kind of destiny compass you want, I can immediately requisition one from the warehouse for you. Just give me the cheapest destiny compass, that'll do." As soon as I said that, Li Anping took out from his inventory a plain-looking compass with a small array carved in the center. "This is the cheapest destiny compass. The market price is 1 million, which equals 10,000 contribution points. It'll give you a discount, 8,000 points, and it's yours." I didn't care whether this destiny compass was secondhand or not. After transferring 8,000 contribution points to Li Anping, I said my goodbyes to him. Holding the destiny compass, I left the Adventure Association feeling completely satisfied. The moment I stepped out of the association's doors, my phone received an invitation message from Li Anping. I clicked confirm and entered the Abyss Raid Team's chat group, immediately receiving a flood of messages. Ruocheng Western Mine Abyss Dungeon. Missing a level 45 healer. Any interested brothers or sisters nearby DM me. Chengdong Suburbs Forest Abyss Dungeon. LF level 50 Burst Mage. East Sea Fishman Island has abyssalized. Need a level 60 Paladin. Must have a full set of epic gear, preferably with blessing and purification skills. As soon as I entered the group, I felt like I had walked into a noisy wet market. Damn, shouldn't this Abyss Raid team be solemn and sacred, filled with ruthless elites of few words? But looking at it now, it's no different from looking for a regular wild dungeon party. To the east of Westlake City lies the Rakshasa River. By the river, there's a level 20 wild dungeon. It's a prime spot for Westlake City's awakened to farm gear and materials. It's also the best leveling spot for me right now. I can grind straight to level 19 in that dungeon. When I arrived at the location, the outside of the dungeon was packed with people looking for parties. Although they saw I was only level 16, the Sword Array Masterclass was quite eye-catching. Everyone could tell I wasn't simple. After all, without some real skills, no one would come to the Rakshasa River dungeon at level 16. I flatly rejected the party invites from the people around me, selected Nightmare difficulty, and teleported straight in. As I entered the dungeon alone, many people outside revealed amused smiles. Level 16 entering a dungeon alone. Is he that arrogant? Even if it's just normal difficulty. Hess still asking for death. Truly a newborn calf that doesn't fear the tiger. Just wait. Give it an hour. Let's see if he makes it out alive. At this moment, outside the crowd, a woman wearing an assassin's outfit was sitting on a rock, tossing a dagger in her hand, while looking at the dungeon portal with interest. What an interesting guy. Maybe Hez exactly the person I'm looking for. As soon as I entered the dungeon, I was teleported to the bottom of the river. Ahead of me was a massive underwater palace. Guarding the palace entrance were some shrimp soldiers and crab generals. I glanced at my oxygen bar. The air was limited. It looked like I only had enough for an hour. I either had to clear it within an hour, or save enough air to make it back to the entrance. Thinking of this, I immediately walked toward the underwater palace ahead, while using the Eye of the Abyss on the shrimp soldiers and crab generals at the door. I quickly discovered that the elite monsters here had stats higher than even level 10 bosses. No wonder Nightmare difficulty requires a 5-man party and needs a support. Otherwise, with the strength of these shrimp soldiers and crab generals, one hit would be too much for even a level 20 knight to tank. Knowing time was tight, I didn't waste a second. I directly deployed my sword array and used Chixiao to reap the lives of the 2 elite monsters. Successfully killed shrimp soldier. EXP 3000. Successfully killed crab general. EXP 3000. Obtained Shrimp Tail X1. Obtained Crab Claw X1. After walking into the palace, I found even more shrimp soldiers and crab generals inside. Seeing a massive swarm of monsters gathered in the hall, I directly unleashed Mindstorm. All the shrimp soldiers and crab generals in the palace hall instantly exploded. A flood of EXP notifications spammed my screen. My EXP bar shot up by 20% straight away. Watching the monsters vanish as fast as a match 3 game, I felt an inexplicable sense of satisfaction. I continued deeper into the dungeon. The palace had 3 main pathways, and each pathway had countless forks. The massive palace was as incredibly complex as a labyrinth. I wandered around inside for half an hour, killing quite a few shrimp soldiers and crab generals, and leveled up to 17. But I still couldn't find the boss room. I thought to myself, this isn't going to work. Once my air runs out, if I still haven't found the boss, it'll probably suffocate to death. This dungeon has been around for years. There should be complete dungeon maps available on the market. It'll come back to challenge it after I get a map. The play it safe, I didn't venture any deeper. Instead, I retraced my steps back to the dungeon entrance. As I appeared at the dungeon's teleportation portal, I immediately caught the attention of quite a few people around. This kid actually came out alive. Don't tell me he actually soloed the dungeon. He was only in there for about 40 minutes. How could he possibly clear it? I bet. He couldn't even beat the shrimp soldiers and crab generals at the entrance. He definitely just waited at the entrance this whole time, just to save face before coming out. Talk about slapping your face until it's swollen just to look fat. No, wait. Look at his level. Hez already level 17. He must have killed a ton of monsters. He probably just got lost in the palace and had no choice but to retreat. I didn't care about their gossip. I started walking towards Westlake City. These wild dungeons are different from beginner dungeons. Each difficulty level has its own exclusive cooldown time. The cooldown for Nightmare difficulty is 6 hours. I have plenty of time to prepare the things I need. Suddenly, a woman blocked my path. She asked, "Did you just solo the Nightmare difficulty?" I glanced at the woman dressed as an assassin and simply bypassed her and kept walking. The woman chuckled. "I have information on the Luosha River's hidden boss. Are you interested?" My footsteps paused. I turned back to look at her. The woman scanned our surroundings, twirled her dagger, and said, "There are too many eyes and ears here. Let's talk somewhere else." I used Eye of the Abyss on her, Guan Xin Shadow Assassin level 22. After confirming her class and level, I nodded in agreement. Once we reached a secluded spot, Guan Xin stopped. Then she suddenly activated the assassin skill, Stealth, and in the next second appeared right behind me. But before she could even launch a skill, an iron sword materialized out of thin air and rested against her neck. Seeing the iron sword at her throat, a flash of astonishment crossed Guan Xin's eyes. I turned around and looked at her calmly. I said flatly, "If you don't give me a reasonable explanation, I guarantee your head will hit the ground in the next second." Guan Xin quickly steadied her nerves and put her dagger away. She smiled and said, "Don't overthink it. Big sis just wanted to test if you actually have what it takes to team up with me. If I bring a dead weight to fight a hidden boss, we might both end up losing our lives in there. But from the looks of it, you're the one who seems more like deadweight. You're pretty young, but you've got a sharp tongue." I retracted the iron sword into my sword array space and asked, "Cut to the chase.
What hidden boss?"
Guan Xin then pulled out a coral key. This is the key that dropped when I killed the Luosha River dungeon boss. It can open a hidden door. Inside is a level 30 humanoid hidden boss. That hidden room is restricted to 2 people, and the average level must be under 20. The room is restricted to 2 people, and the average level has to be under 20. Yet the boss is level 30.
What kind of dungeon is that?
Even if you're trying to trick an idiot, you wouldn't do it like this. That just shows your ignorance. This kind of situation is actually very common in legendary trials. Hearing this, I asked her what a legendary trial was. They are hidden quests scattered all over the world. As long as you complete the trial's objective, you'll receive incredibly generous rewards. The bare minimum is an epic piece of gear. If you're lucky, you might even get a special skill or an awakened talent. My father awakened the ES-Rank Magic Blade, 1000 Blades. My mother awakened the SS-Rank Shuan Heavy Ruler. During today's ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned red. Then, a beam of red light descended from the heavens and landed on me. When the red light faded, the phantom of a swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. Seeing this, the principal exclaimed in shock. It's actually the unique hidden class, Sword Array Master. It meant I was the only person in the whole world with this class. Unless I died, there would never be a second Sword Array Master in this world. As long as you complete the trial's objective, you'll receive incredibly generous rewards. The bare minimum is an epic piece of gear. If you're lucky, you might even get a special skill or an awakened talent. How do you know all this? From the looks of it, you just graduated high school, right? Legendary trials are a mandatory course in every university. You'll know once you get to college.
Then how are you so sure I can help you?
Defeat that hidden boss. My intuition has always been spot on. I have a feeling that if I party up with you, well, definitely clear it. I don't like taking risks. Your reason isn't convincing enough.
Guan Xin
Couldn't help but grumble at me, then took out a scroll and handed it to me. Take this. Now, are you willing to give it a try with me? I took the scroll and checked its info. Return scroll can be used inside a dungeon to forcibly exit and return to the nearest main city. After reading it, a flash of surprise crossed my eyes. I had seen this item at the exchange. One scroll costs 100,000 bucks. It's crazy expensive. I didn't expect Guan Xin to be so generous. I pondered for a moment and figured this was a good opportunity. So I nodded and said, I can party up with you to raid the hidden boss. But I just came out of Nightmare difficulty, so I have to wait 6 hours. That doesn't matter. I have an item that resets. Dungeon cooldowns. With that, Guanxin sent me a party invite. Don't worry, even though you're only level 17. Well, split the loot 50-50. Seeing her say that, I didn't argue further. I accepted the party invite and went back to the Rakshasa dungeon portal with her. I didn't hesitate. After teleporting into the dungeon with Guanxin, she turned to me and said, "It'll take too much time for the two of us to fight these elite monsters. I know, a shortcut that bypasses most of them. There's no need to push through the front, right? It'll just grind some levels on the way." Saying that, I walked straight toward the shrimp soldiers and crab generals at the entrance. Are you crazy? Pushing through the front will get you killed. I didn't respond. I summoned 10 iron swords and instantly one-shot the shrimp soldiers and crab generals at the door. Then I walked into the hall and unleashed mental storm. A terrifying storm swept out in all directions. Then Guanxin saw a massive flood of kill notifications. She was completely dumbfounded on the spot. I looked back and urged her, "What are you standing there for? Lead the way. I don't have a map." Guanxin snapped out of it and immediately walked to the front, choosing the door right in the middle of the hall. On the way to the boss room, Guanxin was completely numb. Every single elite monster we encountered along the way was instantly one-shot by me without exception. She thought to herself, "Is this really the attack power a level 17 should have?" Guanxin couldn't comprehend it. With the HP those elite monsters had, even if she used her highest single target damage skill, she couldn't one-shot them. But I looked like I was just using basic attacks. The most terrifying part was, my basic attacks seemed to have splash damage. Suddenly, Guanxin felt that her rare class, compared to my sword array master, was just a beggar's class, with Guanxin leading the way and me one-shotting everything.
It took us less than 10 minutes.
To arrive outside the dungeon boss room, Guanxin stopped outside the boss room and said to me, "I know your attack power is really high, but inside is still the final boss of a level 20 nightmare dungeon. I know its weakness. You help me kite it and flank it from behind. We're short on time. No need to make it so complicated." I cut Guanxin off and pushed the door open directly. Inside lay a massive snake over 10 meters long. I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss to inspect it. Rakshasa King, Snake level 20, STR 3200, AGI 4200, SPR 2000, Vite 6000. After seeing it, I muttered, "It actually has 6000 vitality." Guanxin hurriedly chased after me. "I told you not to be reckless. This boss has really high attack and is super tanky. Your frail body won't be able to take a single hit from it." Before she could finish, I raised my hand and waved. Chick-Xiao materialized out of thin air, turned into a streak of red light, and pierced right through the Rakshasa King snake's head. The Rakshasa King snake didn't even have time to react before letting out a mournful hiss and crashing to the ground. Successfully killed Rakshasa King snake. EXP 42,000. Guanxin obtained equipment, Rakshasa King snake leather armor. Rakshasa King snake fang poison blade. Rakshasa King snake core. Seeing the kill notifications on her panel, Guanxin's mouth twitched. Then she stood frozen in place, staring blankly at the empty boss room. Thinking she was dreaming, I turned around and asked, "Dungeon gear and materials dropped directly into the party leaders' inventory. According to our agreement, we split it 50-50, right?" Guanxin nodded subconsciously, then took out the gear and materials the boss dropped. Rakshasa King, Snake Leather Armor Gold Tier, Defense 200, Agility 200, Poison, Damage 20%, Level 20. Rakshasa King, Snake Fang, Poison Blade Gold Tier, Attack 200, Attacks, Inflict Poison Attribute, Assassin Skill Damage 20%, Level 20. Rakshasa King, Snake Core Poison Attribute Material. After checking the equipment info, I shook my head and said, "None of this gear is of any use to me." Guanxin suggested I didn't do anything in this dungeon. Logically, all the gear should go to you. But I really do want this gear. How about I pay you the market price for gold tier gear and buy these two pieces from you? A piece of gold tier gear starts at $1 million on the market. These two pieces look like a set, so the price is even higher. That core is also a very valuable material. I'll package it all together and give you 5 million. How about it? When I heard 5 million, I was stunned on the spot. Seeing that I didn't agree, Guanxin thought I felt it was too little. She coaxed. I didn't bring much spare change with me this time. "If you think it's too little, we can add each other as friends after we get out, and I'll wire you another 2 million later." I snapped back to reality and shook my head. A 50-50 split is a 50-50 split. One piece of gear goes to me. One piece goes to you. We split the core in half. If you want to buy it all out, just give me 2.5 million. Guanxin burst out laughing. "You really are a weirdo. You actually refuse extra money. 2.5 million. Sounds bad. I'll transfer you 3 million once we're out of the dungeon." After reaching an agreement, Guanxin took out the coral key, With a click, the coral door slowly opened. Behind the door was a dojo. In the center of the dojo sat a humanoid monster wearing an oni mask and red armor. Behind it rested an unsheathed sword. Noble, proud, and solemn, the monster's entire body exuded the aura of a king. I immediately used the Eye of the Abyss on it. Hidden Boss, Rakshasa King. Level 30, STR 10,000, AGI 10,000, SPR 10,000, VIT 10,000. Skills, Flash of the Sword, King's Aura, Undying Will. Seeing the Rakshasa King stats, I couldn't help but gasp. Not only did it have 5-digit stats across the board, but the Rakshasa King's skills also looked extremely tricky. I then turned to Guanshin and asked, "You've challenged this boss before? Do you have any intel?" Guanshin replied, "I've only challenged it once, and I only made it past its first phase. In the first phase, it doesn't use its weapon. In the second phase, it uses its weapon, and at the same time, its aggression and speed increase drastically. Plus, its HP locks at each phase. It doesn't look like something you can kill just by bursting it down with damage." After hearing that, I stepped into the dojo. The Rakshasa King, who had its eyes closed the whole time, slowly opened them and stood up. Only then did I realize that the Rakshasa King was over 3 meters tall. The oppressive feeling was intense. I directly deployed my sword array, summoned Chixiao behind the Rakshasa King, and pierced right through its body. The Rakshasa King fell to its knees on the spot. Then, scorching flames ignited around its body. Its skin turned crimson as it stood back up, drawing its sword from its sheath at the same time. Seeing that, I forced the Rakshasa King into its second phase with a single strike. Guanshin's mouth dropped open in shock. You have to know, previously in this dojo, she had relied on pure technique to grind down the Rakshasa King for an hour just to get it to its second phase. Yet I used a single basic attack to force out its second phase. Seeing the Rakshasa King enter its second phase, I didn't give it a chance to attack. I controlled Chixiao to thrust at it again. But right then a flash of sword light appeared, and Chixiao was actually deflected by the Rakshasa King's sword. My pupils shrank slightly. This was the first time I had encountered a situation where my attack was deflected. Suddenly, the Rakshasa King turned into a streak of red light and dashed right in front of me, simultaneously activating its skill, Flash of the Sword. As the Rakshasa King swung its sword at me, Chixiao immediately appeared in front of me, deploying a red barrier that deflected the Rakshasa King's attack just in time. Outside the dojo, Guanshin, seeing me tank a hit from the Rakshasa King head-on, without taking even half a step back, felt a monstrous wave of shock crash through her heart. She stared at me in utter disbelief, thinking to herself, "What kind of monster is this guy? It's one thing to have high damage, but how is his defense this high too? Does he have built-in super armor or something?" You have to know, even at level 22, if she got touched by the Rakshasa King, even if she used techniques to parry and mitigate a large portion of the damage, her stamina would still instantly bottom out, forcing her to use a return scroll to escape. But the guy in front of her was acting like nothing happened. Is this guy really level 17? While Guanshin was in shock, I suddenly asked her, "Guanshin, do you know why the boss was able to deflect my attack?" Guanshin snapped out of it and asked in confusion, "You don't know about perfect parry?" Seeing my bewildered expression, she started explaining it to me. "It's an advanced technique for countering physical attacks. You have to find the flaw, the exact moment the enemy's attack lands, and then defend. As long as you succeed, you can completely negate the attack damage and even cause the enemy to stagger." I had played quite a few video games, so Guanshin's explanation clicked immediately. "So it's like a parry in a game." Guanshin nodded and said, "Exactly. However, the prerequisite for a perfect parry is that it must be a split-second defense. Therefore, this technique has huge rewards but also huge risks. If the perfect parry fails, you take the full damage." While Guanshin was speaking, the Rakshasa King activated Flash of the Sword again, dashing in front of me and swinging its sword. I immediately controlled Chixiao to block in front of me, attempting a perfect parry, but the Rakshasa King's speed was too fast. I couldn't react in time at all. The parry failed. The Rakshasa King's sword slashed viciously into me. I felt a sharp pain and had to summon other iron swords to knock the Rakshasa King back. At the same time, I controlled 10 flying swords to attack the Rakshasa King, but they were all perfectly parried by it. After steadying myself, I asked Guanshin for 3 healing potions because this dungeon only allows the use of 3 potions. Since all my attacks get parried by it, the only way to deal damage is to pull off a perfect parry myself. With my current vitality, I can tank 3 hits from the Rakshasa King, plus the continuous healing passive from Constellation 3. I can tank 4 hits. An ultimate health potion can fully restore my HP. 3 ultimate potions means 12 chances. Plus the 2 hits I can still tank right now. That's a total of 14 chances. If I can grasp the trick to perfect parrying within 14 attacks, then this hidden boss isn't unbeatable. Seeing that, I wanted to perfect parry the Rakshasa King's second phase attacks. Guan Xin yelled in shock from the sidelines. Parrying is related to strength and agility. The Rakshasa King is incredibly fast. Can your agility even keep up with it? I have my ways, I replied briefly, then used attribute conversion to convert all my spirit into strength and agility. In the next moment, my spirit stat dropped to 0, and my strength and agility stats became 1,845 and 1,770 respectively. My father awakened the ES-Rank Magic Blade, 1,000 Blades. My mother awakened the SS-Rank Xuan Heavy Ruler, but during today's ceremony, I awakened a broken wooden sword. Just as the crowd below erupted into thunderous laughter, the sky above the entire city suddenly turned red. Then, a beam of red light descended from the heavens and landed on me. When the red light faded, the phantom of a swordsman appeared on the awakening stage. Seeing this, the principal exclaimed in shock. It's actually the unique hidden class, Sword Array Master. It meant I was the only person in the whole world with this class. Unless I died, there would never be a second Sword Array Master in this world. Then, in the next few card draws, I managed to pull an unprecedented max constellation. Later, after grinding a few dungeons to boost my strength, I teamed up with Guan Xin and entered a hidden dungeon. Because the boss could perfect parry all damage, the only way to deal damage to it was to also use the counter damage from a perfect parry. At this moment, I used the ability Attribute Conversion to convert all my spirit into strength and agility. In the next moment, my spirit stat dropped to 0, and my strength and agility stats became 1,845 and 1,770 respectively. All my flying swords clattered to the ground. I could no longer control them, but I felt my strength and speed increase drastically. Then, I gripped the Chixiao sword and stared intently at the Rakshasa King. I had instantly transformed from a mage into a warrior. The Rakshasa King seemed to sense my fighting spirit. It used its skill again, turning into a streak of red light and charging at me. With my greatly increased strength and speed, I could barely track the Rakshasa King's movements. I attempted a perfect parry again, but it still failed. After the Rakshasa King stabbed me with its sword, my HP instantly dropped to 1 per 3. Then the Rakshasa King elegantly retreated to create distance. Seeing the Rakshasa King retreat after a single strike, it further confirmed the guess in my heart. This hidden boss was a trial, and the trial's objective was perfect parrying. A moment later, the Rakshasa King activated its skill again. I tried to perfect parry again, but still failed. Seeing my HP bottom out, I immediately took out an ultimate healing potion and drank it. The Rakshasa King activated its skill yet again. I attempted a perfect parry once more. At this moment in the dojo, the Rakshasa King was like a strict master, and I was the unyielding disciple, constantly repeating the practice of every move and stance. Outside the dojo, Guan Xin was completely dumbfounded. She never imagined that a mere level 17 like me was actually using the Rakshasa King to practice perfect parrying. As I drank my third ultimate healing potion, I finally succeeded. A perfect parry sent the Rakshasa King's sword flying. I quickly seized the opportunity to cancel attribute conversion and drove the Chixiao sword right through the Rakshasa King's chest. The Rakshasa King's HP bottomed out, and it fell to its knees on the spot. Seeing me successfully strike, the Rakshasa King, Guan Xin's face lit up with joy. But before she could even congratulate me, the Rakshasa King suddenly erupted with an incredibly powerful aura. Then it activated the skills Undying Will in King's aura. The entire dojo began to shake violently. The Rakshasa King suddenly let out a roar and stood back up. Its heavy armor fell off, revealing a scar-covered body with bulging muscles. Seeing this, I grinned. Then I retracted all my flying swords into my sword array space. Through repeated practice, I had completely figured out the Rakshasa King's attack patterns. Just as the Rakshasa King turned into a streak of red light and charged at me, I controlled 9 iron swords to fly forward. One of them hit the Rakshasa King's weak point perfectly, deflecting its sword. I seized the opening and summoned my 10th sword, Chixiao. A flash of red light streaked past, piercing right through the Rakshasa King's heart. The next second, the system notification chimed. Successfully killed Rakshasa King. EXP 100,000. Obtained equipment, Rakshasa King Mask. Summons the Rakshasa King to fight alongside you. If the Rakshasa King dies, it will automatically recover within the mask. Obtained Rakshasa King's Heart. X1. Legacy. Legendary Trial. Obtain skill parry. Intuition effect. Your first parry is guaranteed to be a perfect parry. Detected host has achieved the milestone. First legendary trial. Reward Awakened Advanced Talent. I am Legend. effect. If a legendary trial exists within a dungeon, clearing the dungeon guarantees the drop of the item required to unlock the trial. All the rewards were first distributed into the party leader Guan Xin's inventory. Then she walked up and handed both the Rakshasa King mask and the Rakshasa King's heart to me. She said, "Zhang Yuan, take these. You cleared this battle entirely on your own. Logically, both of these epic items should go to you." I glanced at the Rakshasa King mask and the Rakshasa King's heart, but in the end, I only took the Rakshasa King mask. I told you, since we agreed on a 50-50 split, then everything gets split. 50-50. We don't distribute loot based on contribution. Guan Xin was shocked. Do you have any idea how much epic items are worth? This Rakshasa King's heart is worth tens of millions at the very least. I shook my head firmly and said, even if it was 100 million, it still belongs to you. It's a matter of principle. It has nothing to do with how much money it is. Besides, without the hidden key you provided, the information on perfect parrying, and those 3 healing potions, I wouldn't have been able to defeat the Rakshasa King. Hearing this, the way Guan Xin looked at me changed subtly. I put away the Rakshasa King mask and walked toward the treasure chest in the center of the dojo. The previous loot was the reward for defeating the boss, but this chest was the reward for completing the Rakshasa River dungeon. The gear and materials obtained from defeating the boss are distributed directly to the party leader, who then allocates them. However, the chest reward for a first-time dungeon clear is unique to each individual. Guan Xin had already cleared the Rakshasa River dungeon before, so this chest belonged exclusively to me. After opening the chest, obtain Divine Stone X1, Basic Skill Scroll X5. As I claimed my rewards, the chest in the dojo vanished, and the dungeon exit portal appeared. After the two of us teleported out, Guan Xin directly transferred 3 million to my account. This was truly a pleasant cooperation. Let's add each other as friends. If there's a chance, well, team up again.
I didn't agree.
Guan Xin directly left the party and walked away without looking back. Hey, you're just gonna take the money and run. Is this how you treat women? After I got home, I took out the Destiny Compass and the 15 basic skill scrolls. I didn't expect to get another Divine Stone so quickly. At this rate, I'll have a max tier exclusive weapon before the college entrance exam. Thinking of this, I first used the 15 basic skill scrolls, obtained duplicate skill. Skill proficiency increased, poison resistance leveled up to 10, obtained 100% poison resistance. Then I took out the newly acquired Divine Stone, ready to pull. With that thought, I placed the Divine Stone into the compass. The next second, the array on the compass lit up, countless cards spun within the array, and finally, a red card flew out. I thought I would draw another, Chixiao, which would bring it to Tier 4 refinement, making it comparable to a divine artifact. But the next moment, the system voice chimed in. Obtain Divine Sword Zanlu exclusive Tier 1. Attack power 1000, damage 100%. Auto protects the master. Wielder is immune to water-type attacks. Note, one of the top 10 sword auras. Protects the master, slays demons, and cleanses the world. After reading it, I was stunned on the spot. So exclusive weapons aren't limited to just one. Suddenly, a terrifying thought popped into my head. Other classes only have one exclusive weapon. I've never heard of anyone having multiple exclusive weapons, but I can have 10 of them in the late game. If all 10 exclusive weapons are max refined, wouldn't that mean it'd possess 10 divine artifacts at the same time? Just thinking about this possibility made my breathing heavy. Divine artifacts possess world-destroying power. Even among those awakened who have reached the divine tier, very few actually own a divine artifact. Just then, someone knocked on the door. I immediately stored Zanlu into the sword array space and went to open the door. I saw Xia Zhaoyang standing at the door with a beaming smile. I recognized Xia Zhaoyang at a glance, and immediately said, "Sorry, I've already decided to apply to Kyoto University."
Relax.
I'm not here to stop you from going to Kyoto University. After I went back that day, I reported your situation to the Supreme Command. The top brass values you highly. They held meetings for 3 days straight and decided to make an exception, to let you join as an unofficial member of the Qianlong Squadron. That way you can still take your college exams. Seeing my confused expression, he explained, "It's a secret military unit of our country. Anyone who can enter the Qianlong Squadron is the elite of the elite." Hearing this, I asked him what the benefits of joining were. As long as you join the Qianlong Squadron, the military will be your biggest backer. In the entire Great Xia, no one will dare mess with you. Plus, all sorts of military resources will be tilted in your favor. After that, not only can you enjoy Kyoto University's resources, but our military's exclusive dungeon resources, equipment, and all kinds of intel will also be available to you. Currently, the only person who can enjoy both university and military resources at the same time is you. You're the first. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Since the military is giving me these benefits, I'll have to shoulder the corresponding responsibilities. Thinking of this, I asked him what I needed to do. I won't hide it from you. Once you join the Qianlong Squadron, you'll need to execute military missions. Of course, since you're still a rookie. The military will focus on training you first. In the early stages, it'll mostly be training missions, which won't affect your status as a Kyoto University student. Even later on, as a special operative, the military won't just assign you ordinary tasks. You will become a sharp blade for the Empire. I pondered for a moment and then thought of my grandmother's special merit medal. If it were my grandmother, she would definitely want me to serve the country. Thinking of this, I gave a slight nod and agreed to join the Qianlong Squadron. Xie Zhuoyang instantly got excited and added, "Oh, right? To join the Qianlong Squadron. Besides needing a recommendation from command, you also need to pass the Qianlong Squadron's trial. Focus on leveling up these next few days. Once you hit level 15, it'll take you to take the Qianlong trial. With your strength, you'll definitely pass. After that, you'll officially join the Qianlong Squadron with the rank of Major." Hearing this, I told him I was already ready to take the trial. Xie Zhuoyang was taken aback. He threw a detection skill at me. He saw that I was already level 18. He was absolutely shocked. Xie Zhuoyang's eyes nearly popped out of his head. He asked me how I managed to do it. You have to know, even Kyoto University, the #1 university in Great Jia, only requires its students to reach level 19 within a month. Yet I had reached level 18 in just 3 days. I replied calmly. I cleared another abyssal dungeon and got a lot of EXP. Then I cleared the nightmare difficulty of the Luosha River dungeon and hit level 18. Xie Zhuoyang seemed to have heard something unbelievable. He gasped, "Don't tell me. The one who cleared the Ghost Forest Abyssal dungeon was you." I heard a level 70 Abyssal. Boss Otis appeared in that dungeon and was actually repelled. "Did you do that too?" After getting my affirmative answer, he said to me, I have to report this to command? Wait here for a bit." "Excuse me?" A moment later, Xie Zhuoyang came running back in a hurry. Looking thrilled, he said to me, "Zhang Yuan, great news. War God Wan wants to see you personally. Come with me to the military district." I was stunned. I asked him who War God Wan was. Xie Zhuoyang was also stunned by my question. He quickly replied, "You actually don't know War God Wan Chang'an? He's a legendary figure in our great Jia Empire. Not only is he the supreme commander of our national defense force, he's also a divine tier warrior. In the entire Great Jia Empire, there are less than 10 people with a higher status than him. He is an absolute big shot. Come on, let's go." I gave a slight nod. I didn't have much of an emotional reaction, relying on the Sword Array Masterclass. I was confident that in the near future, I would definitely climb to the pinnacle of this world. At this time, Wan Chang'an had already used a teleportation array to travel from Kyoto to West Lake City. Xie Zhuoyang led me through multiple checkpoints to the outside of the command headquarters. I saw 2 soldiers standing tall at the door. I used Eye of the Abyss to inspect them and found that the 2 soldiers at the door were both level 60 Elite Awakened. I couldn't help but marvel at the grand display. After walking into the headquarters, I saw several soldiers in dark green uniforms standing inside. One of the middle-aged men exuded an unparalleled, terrifying aura from head to toe. The first time I laid eyes on that middle-aged man, I knew he was Wan Chang'an. His strength was no less than Bai Zhengguo's. I'm afraid even the Abyssal Boss Otis wouldn't be able to take a single slap from him here, just by Wan Chang'an turning around, his sharp gaze made Xie Zhuoyang, who was standing to the side, go weak in the knees. But seeing me stand perfectly still, he gave a slight nod and said, "Not bad." As soon as he spoke, Wan Chang'an suddenly raised his hand. A sharp longsword materialized out of thin air, turning into a streak of golden light that thrust straight at me. A terrifying pressure swept out in all directions. I let out a low breath, and Chixiao appeared out of nowhere. I activated the skill block with a loud clang. Wan Chang'an's sword was deflected by Chixiao. The headquarters instantly fell into a dead silence. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded, including Wan Chang'an. No one could have imagined that a mere level 18 like me could perfectly block an attack from Wan Chang'an. Having awakened the hidden class, Sword Array Master, I was facing off against War God Wan, one of the top 10 in the world. Seeing me stand steadfast against his coercion, he said, "Not bad." The next second, he suddenly raised his hand. A sharp longsword materialized out of thin air and thrust at me. Fortunately, after awakening my class, I drew an unprecedented max-tier exclusive weapon. I hurriedly summoned my exclusive weapon, Chixiao, and activated the skill block. With a loud clang, Wan Chang'an's sword was deflected by Chixiao. At this moment, everyone was stunned in place. No one could have imagined that a mere level 18 like me could perfectly block an attack from War God Wan. Wan Chang'an coughed twice. Eased the awkwardness. He nodded at me and said, "Good kid, you really are something. To actually block my sword strike. No wonder old Bai praises you so highly." I gave a slight bow and replied neither haughtily nor humbly. "I just used a skill that guarantees a successful block, that's all. It was just a fluke. It's nothing special." At this time, inside the headquarters, the others also had looks of sudden realization on their faces. Come to think of it, it made sense. If it weren't for a skill, a rookie who had only been training for 2.5 days couldn't possibly have blocked a strike from Wan Chang'an. Seeing me take the initiative to explain and help him save face, Wan Chang'an looked at me with growing satisfaction. He immediately took out a pair of boots from his inventory and handed them to me. "Even though you relied on a skill to block my strike, your performance has far exceeded my expectations. These boots have been with me for many years. Now, in giving them to you." Seeing this, the others around us all had their expressions change drastically. They gasped, "Commander, that's..." Wan Chang'an cut them off. He then said, "This is my decision. Don't run your mouths. Everyone out. I want to chat with this kid alone." I took the boots and checked their stats. Windrider boots, legendary equipment. Strength 1000, Agility 1000, Spirit 1000, Constitution 1000, Wind type damage reduction 50%. Wielder gains the skill, Ride the Wind. Upon activation, movement speed increases by 100%. Seeing the stats of the Windrider boots, my pupils shrank slightly. I looked at Wan Chang'an in shock. "This is legendary equipment. It's too precious." Wan Chang'an waved his hand and smiled. "It's a piece of gear I got in my early days. It's been with me for over 20 years. I haven't had a use for it in a long time. Giving it to you will actually let it shine once again. This is a token of my appreciation. Don't refuse it."
I didn't stand on ceremony any longer.
And immediately equipped the Windrider boots. I instantly felt my whole body become much lighter. It felt like I could jump all the way to the sky with a single bound. Wan Chang'an looked at me with a chuckle and continued, "Zhang Yuan, do you know why I wanted to see you personally? Wasn't it because of Captain Xia's report? That's only part of it. However, it's not the main reason I decided to see you in person." I was taken aback, confused. I asked him why. "Your grandmother was my teacher, and your parents were once my subordinates." Hearing this, my pupils shrank slightly. Something like this actually happened. I had never heard my grandmother mention it. After she retired, she stopped talking about military affairs. Ever since your parents went missing, she hasn't even been willing to see my face. It's not just you. Nowadays, the vast majority of people in the military don't even know that I once had a teacher. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. What I want to talk about is your parents. My heart skipped a beat. Even though ever since I transmigrated here, I had never met the original host's parents. Due to the host's influence, I still held a strong emotional connection. To these parents I had never met. Someone found traces of them on the abyssal front line. However, it seems they've turned into abyssal bosses. Hearing this, my pleasant surprise instantly turned into shock. After a moment of thought, I turned to Wan Chang'an and said, "Commander, if there's any news about my parents, please make sure to tell me immediately." After I finished speaking, Wan Chang'an suddenly changed the subject. He handed me a Qianlong Squadron badge and said, "I originally wanted to test you myself to see if you were qualified to join the Qianlong Squadron, but looking at it now, it seems there's no need for that. From this moment on, you are Major Zhang Yuan." I stood up straight and replied with a resounding voice. Wan Chang'an seemed to see those two subordinates he once took the most pride in. A smile involuntarily crept onto the corners of his mouth. He said gently, "Welcome to the Qianlong Squadron." After Wan Chang'an conferred my military rank, he teleported away with his personal guards. As the commander-in-chief of the Great Xia National Defense Force, Wan Chang'an was swamped with duties. For him to carve out a little time to meet me was already his limit. After Wan Chang'an left, Xia Chaoyang took me to the cafeteria to eat, while introducing me to the situation in the military and the many benefits for the soldiers. When Xia Chaoyang mentioned the skill training hall, I asked, particularly curious, "What kind of place is the skill training hall?" The skill training hall is where our soldiers upgrade their skill levels. The efficiency of cultivating skills inside increases drastically. The skill training hall is a facility unique to our military. You won't find it anywhere else. Hearing this, a flash of pleasant surprise crossed my eyes. I was already level 18 now, but the two skills, Sword Array and Sword Flight, were still only at level 3. I had no idea when they would level up again. If the skill training hall could raise my skill levels, then my combat power would take another massive leap. Thinking of this, I couldn't wait to ask, "Can I go to the skill training hall?"
Of course.
This is one of your benefits after all. However, we only have a beginner skill training hall here. At most, it can quickly raise your skill levels to level 5. If you want to use a higher level skill training hall, you'll have to report to the Qianlong Squadron in Kyoto. I replied in pleasant surprise. Being able to reach level 5 is already great. My skills are only level 3 right now. Reaching level 5 will be another huge boost. After Jia Chaoyang dropped me off at the skill training hall, a soldier outside the hall smiled and asked Jia Chaoyang, Captain Jia, take a guess. How long do you think that kid can last in the training hall? Xia Chaoyang held up 5 fingers and said confidently, 5 days. The soldier was surprised. Hez still a student, right? Staying in that hellhole for 5 days. Wouldn't that actually drive a person crazy? While Jia Chaoyang was talking with the soldiers, I had already teleported into the training grounds. As soon as I entered, I heard an AI-synthesized female voice. Welcome to the beginner skill training. Do you need a customized training package? A hint of surprise flashed in my eyes. Everything here was new to me. I immediately answered yes. Then I felt a light wave. Scan my body. Scan complete. Currently upgradable skills. Sword Array level 3. Sword Flight level 3. Attribute Conversion level 1. Training for 16 hours a day. The estimated time for upgrade is 20 days. Would you like to begin training? I thought about it for a moment. There were still 27 days until the National College entrance examination. I was already level 18 now. Even if I trained in this hall for 20 days, I would still have a week left to level up. Even if I just soloed the Rakshasa General dungeon repeatedly, it would be enough to reach level 19. As for this 16-hour daily training regimen, with my current spirit stat of over 3,000, it shouldn't be hard to endure. Thinking of this, I sent a message to my grandmother and aunt, explaining my current situation, and that I wouldn't be home for 20 days. After reporting to my family, I chose to begin the training. The next moment, a training dummy rose from the center of the room. Training begins. First, use the skill Sword Array, then use the skill Sword Control to attack the dummy. Repeat 100 times. As the AI voice gave the training plan, I began to deploy my Sword Array, summoning 18 iron swords from the Sword Array space to attack the dummy in the room. I felt that using the Sword Control skill in this room was much smoother than outside. Soon, the 100 reps were completed. I tried controlling the iron swords again and found it to be slightly more fluid. Training intensity in the skill training hall was far greater than I had imagined. By the time the first day of training ended, I was on the verge of collapsing from exhaustion. I didn't even have the energy to wash up and just crashed on the bed. Although the training intensity here was high, the results were also stellar. In just the first day, my sword control skill leveled up to 4. Early the next morning, I was jolted awake from a sweet dream by a bucket of cold water. Day 2 of training begins. Use the sword control skill to attack the dummy 1,000 times. For these 20 days, I ate, drank, and slept entirely within this training hall. When I was hungry, I ate. When I was tired, I slept. When I woke up, I trained. I continuously and mechanically repeated the skill exercises to increase my skill proficiency. 20 days passed in a flash. Congratulations on completing this training package. This skill training hall can no longer upgrade your skill levels. If you wish to continue upgrading, please proceed to an advanced skill training hall. As the AI voice sounded, I took the opportunity to check my skill info. Sword Array level 5 deploy. Sword Array continuously consumes spirit. Within a 50-meter radius, crit damage increases by 140%. Sword Control level 5 command flying swords to attack from the air. Power depends on the swords quality, your spirit, and the skill level. Attribute Conversion level 5 within the Sword Array. Spirit can be converted into strength, agility, and constitution. Conversion multiplier is 5x. Saw that all 3 of my skills had reached. I actually only took 3 days to get Sword Array and Sword Control to level 5. The rest of the time, I spent entirely on practicing the attribute conversion skill. When I left the training hall, I saw a crowd of soldiers gathered outside. Everyone was looking at me with admiration. Seeing this spectacle, I was taken aback. I looked at Jia Zhaoyang, who was also waiting outside, and asked, "What's going on? Why are you all here?" Xia Zhaoyang couldn't help but give me a thumbs up. "Kid, you're seriously insane. To actually last 20 days in the training hall." Surprised, I asked what's wrong with staying for 20 days. Wasn't that the training package customized by the system? Xia Zhaoyang looked at me like I was a freak. He said, "Do you have any idea? Before you, the longest training record in this hall was 7 days. After bidding farewell to the military camp, I headed non-stop towards the Luosha River dungeon in the east of the city. Now, there was only 1 week left until the college entrance exam. I had to reach level 19 before the exam. Otherwise, I wouldn't even qualify to apply for Kyoto University. When I arrived outside the Luosha River dungeon again, I saw Liu Ruyan standing at the entrance. I immediately went up to greet her. Seeing me, she patted my shoulder and said, "Dummy, I finally caught you. How's your leveling been going these past few days? Are you confident about getting into Kyoto University?" Hearing Liu Ruyan's words, I casually used Eye of the Abyss on her.
Liu Ruyan, Elven Priest.
Level 16. Seeing Liu Ruyan's level, I couldn't help but say, compared to me, you should be more worried about yourself, right? The exam is in 7 days, and you're only level 16. I grinded this level all by myself through hard work. This is already a really high level, okay. Let me see what level you are. Liu Ruyan glared at me. She immediately threw an appraisal skill at me. After seeing the results, she opened her mouth wide, looking at me in disbelief. How did you get to level 18? Is it that hard? Soloing a nightmare dungeon a few times is enough? After chatting for a bit, I finally learned that she came looking for me this time to take me to a secret realm dungeon. Seeing my confused face, she explained to me, it's different from naturally formed wild dungeons. A secret realm dungeon is a special artificial dungeon created by people at a massive cost. All the monsters inside that dungeon are artificially created. Our college entrance exam in 7 days is actually going to be held in a super large secret realm
Dungeon as well.
So you're taking me to a secret realm dungeon, mainly to prepare for the college entrance exam. That's one of the reasons. There is another, more important reason. A few days ago, the military announced a new policy. Students of our year can join the military special forces while taking the college entrance exam and receive resources and training from the military. You have to know, the military controls a lot of resources that even Kyoto University doesn't have. If we can get trained by the military, our futures will be limitless. This secret realm dungeon is actually a test by the military. The goal is to filter out the outstanding students. It's said that the best performing students might even have a chance to join the legendary Qianlong squad. All the major families are fighting tooth and nail just for a spot to participate in the test. It took me a lot of effort to get you a spot to enter this secret realm dungeon. Hearing Liu Ruyan's words, my mouth twitched involuntarily. I asked, so, this secret realm dungeon is a trial for the Qianlong squad. Liu Ruyan patted my shoulder and comforted me. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Even though the Qianlong squad is hard to get into, I believe you can definitely make it. When Liu Ruyan brought me outside the dungeon, I spotted a familiar figure. My eyes instantly turned cold. Not far away, Wang Hu also noticed me. A flash of surprise crossed his eyes. He seemed shocked that I was still alive. But very quickly, the surprise in his eyes turned into provocation. He even made a provocative throat-slitting gesture. Seeing Wang Hu's taunt, I mentally marked him as a dead man. However, there were too many people watching right now, and Wang Hu's elders might be nearby. Making a move now wouldn't be wise. Right now, my witness skill can cover a 500-meter radius. He'll have plenty of chances in the future to kill him without anyone noticing. Soon after, a majestic voice rang out. This secret realm dungeon is a team dungeon. The trial participants on the field will be randomly grouped according to their respective classes, forming 4-person squads consisting of a DPS, a tank, a healer, and a support. As the voice faded, the old man opened the teleportation portal. The radiating light enveloped everyone. The next moment, I found myself teleported to a forest at the entrance of an underground palace. Appearing at the entrance with me were Liu Ruyan, a tall girl dressed as a knight, and Wang Hu holding a staff. Seeing that she was actually grouped with me, Liu Ruyan was overjoyed. Dummy, we're actually on the same team. This seems to be our first time teaming up, right? I took a clear look at the team composition and immediately understood my role in the team. It seemed I was being treated as the support. I wasn't surprised by this. After all, I have a unique hidden class. Outsiders don't understand my class traits and the class name. Witness is easily confused with Formation Master. It's normal for everyone to treat me as a support. At this moment, the tall girl walked up. Looking a bit shy, she said softly, Im Miao Shulan. Level 17 Holy Shield Knight. Zhang Yuan, Level 18 Sword Array Master. Im Liu Ruyan, Level 16. My class is Elven Priest. Just then, Wang Hu suddenly spoke up. What rotten luck. I'm a grand Level 19 Fire Mage, and I get grouped with a trash support. Looks like this trial is a total bust. Hearing Wang Hu's voice, Liu Ruyan said unhappily, Wang Hu, why are you everywhere? Don't think I don't know. Your level is entirely boosted by high level. Awakened carrying you. You're the one holding us back. Wang Hu sneered. Family background is also a type of strength. Besides, didn't you listen to the rules? A squad only has 1 DPS. Without me, you guys wouldn't even be able to kill a single monster. How about this? Why don't you let that trash support Zhang Yuan try to kill a monster? I bet he couldn't even break its defense. Miao Shulan, standing to the side, saw the tension in the team getting thicker and thicker. She quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Everyone stop arguing. This secret realm dungeon requires teamwork to clear. Both DPS and support are indispensable. I suggest we put our grudges aside for now and work together to clear it. Saying that, Miao Shulan looked at Wang Hu and placated him. Mage, please calm down. We're relying on your damage for this dungeon. Be the bigger person. Why don't you just carry us through the run? You want me to carry this piece of trash? No way. Zhang Yuan, either you quit the dungeon right now and I'll carry Yenner to clear it, or we all just throw the run. Seeing that Wang Hu was completely unreasonable, a hint of anger welled up in Miao Shulan's eyes, but she quickly suppressed it in order to participate in this secret realm trial. She had set off alone from a border town, crossed a mountain range swarming with level 30 monsters, and barely made it to Westlake City. It was all so she could show her full potential in this secret realm dungeon. She never expected that before it even started. She had run into such a disgusting person. Hearing this, I said flatly, since that's the case, then get the hell out yourself. Wang Hu looked at me in shock and roared, do you not understand the situation? I am the indispensable DPS of this team, and you're just a dispensable trash support. I also suggest you get the hell out right now. Without you, this team might actually progress faster. Miao Shulen finally couldn't hold back anymore. She punched Wang Hu straight to the ground. You're a real level 19 retard. You know that. I've had enough of this. If you want to run the dungeon, run it. If not, get the hell out. Stop whining here like a little bitch. You're annoying as hell.